next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, Corey Sandin, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Royal Polaris, the world's finest long-range sports fisher. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup, and Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray with Rock Cod Rick Maxa. We're in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup here, right next to the San Diego landings in Point Loma. You can see right there on the screen. And boy, we have the whole team from Two Fish Jigs here. Bohdan Vitas, Brandon Bono, and Matt Bralla. We've got some serious talent in this studio today, so you stay tuned. This is Southern California's sport fishing voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network. Hey, San Diego, the Make It Ford Summer Sales event is on.
Yeah, what were you going to say?
San Diego County Ford dealers now and make it your best summer yet. Amazing offers and great selection of Ford vehicles, like the Built Wild Bronco family, with a deal you just can't miss. Your biggest adventures are awaiting. Make it Ford, make it yours, make it now. Only at your San Diego County Ford dealers. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Many years ago, Baja pioneer Bob Van Wormer found the area he called the Great Fish Trap in the East Cape of southern Baja and built what is now regarded as the premier East Cape resorts of Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Today, following in their father's footsteps, Bob's sons, Bobby, Chucky, and Eddie, have taken Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol to a destination for travelers worldwide. But for us, Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol are just a short 2-hour flight away. No other tropical fishing destination offers the experience and value that you'll find at Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Now you can plan your Baja fishing vacation quick and easy by visiting Van Wormer.
Need a thinner leader for more natural presentations. That's where Seaguar Gold Label leader material shines. It's Seaguar's thinnest leader material yet. That means it's even less visible underwater and creates more natural presentations for better catch rates on leader-shy fish. With exceptional knot and tinsel strength, this advanced leader material is now available from 2-pound test for fishing trout in the Sierra to 80-pound test for big yellowfin in Guadalupe. Get Seaguar Gold Label at your favorite tackle dealer or learn more at seaguar.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Man, what a fun show today is going to be. And you said it, boy, the entire team behind Two Fish Jigs. Today is going to be a really fun day.
Yeah, it is. Good morning. Now, am I saying your last name right?
Not even close.
Not even close.
Close, yes. Bohdan Vitas.
Bohdan Vitas.
Yeah,
I was close.
Well,
Semi-close.
For me,
Yeah.
I'm just glad to be here, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, however you call it,
Yeah.
I'm here. Two
That-
Fish Jigs is the part you got to get right.
That's right,
As long as you get that name right,
That part
we
too.
don't care.
Then we're good.
See, that's part of why we didn't, use our names on this.
Yeah.
Why we came up with like a moniker.
Gotcha.
Because, all the other jig companies, they end up using somebody's name.
Gotcha.
And we're trying to do something a little different.
So how did Two Fish Jigs come around?
That is like $1 million question
Yeah.
here. How much time do you got?
Yeah, well, 2 hours.
Well,
Yeah.
how did it come about? Well, I grew up in Minnesota, but I came out to San Diego and I started fishing out here on some of the wonderful boats like the San Diego with Captain Matt, and threw a surface iron and said, I don't think I want to do anything else anymore. And then, once you start, the progression happens, and you go from just fishing somebody else's lure to try and say, can I do that? Can I build a better mousetrap? Can I figure out why that mousetrap works? Why did that jig swim? So, how did it first start? I first started trying to just make a jig. And then it was, well, can I make a couple of jigs? And then you got to get into production. So, it started slowly. It started tinkering around. And then, once you kind of say, I think I can do this at scale enough. Now, I'm sitting between the two tackle guys here who want to say, can't you just make a lot of them? And I think I'm making a lot, but see, this is the part, how many can you make?
You can hardly get them though.
Well,
they fly
there's
off the
a lot
shelf.
of guys who have them.
Yeah.
So, there are some guys who purchased them and we're grateful for that. So, we've sold everything we made. That's
cool.
part of the thing.
So now, how did the world's greatest fisherman come into play, Brandon Bohdan?
What?
How did he come into play?
You heard it here first.
I mean, you're gonna have to tell the story, buddy. I mean, you're gonna have to try and say, how did Brandon not get involved? Like you just said, when you got a great fisherman like that who knows, what he's talking about, what he's doing, and knows the tackle industry, why would you not bring a guy like that onto the team? Now, why would you not?
Well, now we know why Captain Matt Bralla got into play, because he's the man. I mean,
he's also the guy who said,
right?
He said, I like what you're doing, but stop trying to make all those things and just make this.
So is that true,
How
Matt?
important of a team member is that?
Without it, we would be nowhere.
Right.
So, I'd be sitting in my garage looking at a piece of aluminum saying, I don't know what shape to make.
I think you've assembled quite the team. So how did that play into your game there?
Yeah, so
Matt?
I was watching him fish a surface iron. And I was like, what is that? What is that? Something he made. And then it was like, you can't, no, that's not going to work. So I told him, this is what we need to make. We started making it. And as soon as we started making them, they were right.
You found something right off the bat.
Yeah. It was something that you can make, and it didn't need to be identical all the time. It could have its own variation, and you'd get something that swam out of it.
But have you always been a tinkerer? Like, is that always something that you wanted to deal with, or was this just one particular passion?
By training, I am not. I have zero training in tinkering. I have zero, background in that. I have an older brother who liked to make stuff and do stuff, and I was kind of like the flunky who would sit behind and be like, hold this.
Yeah.
But I have gotten into it. I tried to start.
I'd say you're a tinker.
Well, I am now. Yeah. I am now.
Sure.
Brandon, what do you think?
Oh, he's a wild tinker. He's a mad scientist. He's a lot of things.
I would like to say something more than a tinkerer, but we got to come up with a better name than tinker. Come on now. But
productioner. Production
I don't
manufacturer.
Even know what I do.
Mad scientist would be a good
Someday.
Mad scientist.
I'd like to say the ideas that I come up with are good.
Yeah.
Most of them go on the shelf. So, that's the problem too. So if you become too much of a tinkerer, you end up just tweaking things and tweaking things and tweaking things and nothing gets done. And so that's the other problem. You got to say, okay, stop trying to make it better and make what you have. I don't want to talk smack too much, but we may have had some captains over at my house working on some things, and they were like sanding stuff and making something. They're like, well, you got to try things. And I was like, stop trying things. Just help make this.
How what was the process like from Matt when you saw Bohdan start working on his first ones, where you thought like, well, this sure isn't right, to flash forward to now, you guys make some of the best swimming lures on the water. Like, what was the trial and error process like for both of you guys, like getting to the premium product that you guys have now?
So we'd come like every week or so with a new box of jigs, and we'd go through them and go, this is good, this is bad. Don't do this again. And then just like he'd come
on the boat with him.
Come on the boat, or he'd come down to the dock while we're doing maintenance, and I'd spend a couple hours or whatever swimming lures at the dock, just to kind of go like, okay, this is what we need to make. This is the shape what it needs to look like. And he's by far picked up sanding, and like the sandcast jigs are crazy because he's mastered that. Like, it's hard. Like he was saying, we've had all the captains like myself, Anibal, Alec, Renee. We've all been over there pouring jigs and sanding them, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah, moving metal around is not an easy thing.
Yeah, and you go through the box of unfinished jigs or unpainted and unringed jigs, and you're like, okay, that one's good. That one's good. And you look at the ones that we did, and it's like, what?
This one's not.
Yeah. This is going to remain not fishable for a while.
Okay. That's funny.
So Brandon, how do you play into the picture here?
Well, these two, I was very fortunate over the years to, kind of get my surface iron obsession started by the great Rockcod Rick Maxa and the great Michael Jordan of surface iron fishing, Matt Bralla. And a lot of years ago, probably close to 20 years ago, I started working with both of them in the tackle store, and like I didn't know much about surface iron. I would buy the occasional Teddy C to catch a barracuda on the half-day boat, and
that is fun, by the way.
Yeah, sure. He still enjoys that. I've grown out of that phase, but he still quite enjoys that.
I kind of dig it.
But then over the years, you know, these guys taught me, you know, whatever I know about kind of how to pick a lure and what looks right and what's right for what condition. And we would go down to the dock nearly every day and swim a tremendous amount of jigs to find the perfect one, you know, and cut to a year ago or so, you know, one of my best friends in the world, Matt Brawla, invited me to go to Cedros with his mad scientist friend Bohdan. And you know, at that point, I don't know that I was completely sold on Two Fish Jigs, though at that point I had caught my personal best surface iron fish in La Jolla, which was a 41 pounder on like the original, like one of the jigs that Bohdan made for Brawla that Brawla had in a Ziploc bag on the boat that he just randomly gave me one day.
Jeez. But
we went down to Cedros, and I was on day one just sold. Like it was incredible how well they worked. You know, to have a CNC jig, a kind of a universally
Which
produced.
You've never been the biggest.
No.
Like,
I've been
there's
super.
no problem saying that.
Yeah,
because
there's other CNC jigs.
Yeah.
There are, and
But
they're all garbage. You know, there's
You're just being straight with us.
yeah, I just want to lay it on straight and be honest with everybody. There is one CNC jig worth its salt, and it is Two Fish Jig.
Why is that?
Well,
you own the company.
Well, that may be a small player in it, you know. But for sure, of the, you know, regardless if I was affiliated or not, of the CNC jigs that I have fished, our jigs I prefer to the other ones. You know, and when on day one at Cedros, it was, you know, self-evident that these were the best CNC jigs I've ever seen in the water, and they outproduced anything else we fished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Matt?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I know Bohdan agrees with that. But I'm going to tell you something. I am not a surface iron guy, but I love throwing the surface iron. I love catching fish on the surface iron. I've never thrown a jig like the Two Fish Jig that actually works for a guy like me that's not a good surface iron guy. It actually works for me.
I don't think that's quite fair. You do fish a surface iron quite a lot more than the average Joe, for sure.
Well, but those, what the hell? The first time I threw it, I was like, geez, this thing swims.
The thing that's so cool about it is not having to have a lifetime of Brandon working in a tackle store and knowing every little idiosyncrasy of, you know, Matt was talking about sanding a jig, and if you move the metal just right, then it's going to swim right. There's something that's very sweet about knowing that you can walk up and pick any one of those ones off the wall, and you're going to have the exact same experience that Pete had. And I'm assuming that's what CNC gives you, is that repetitive perfectness.
That's, you know, that's the goal of, like you guys said, kind of taking the mystery out of it, you know, and that's part of why we chose what we chose for a shape. Matt was really smart in saying we think a flat nose jig, you know, is going to work in most conditions. Mm-hmm. Now, there might be some conditions you need to think about this jig, or some conditions you think about that shape. But this shape seems to work in almost all conditions. Uh-huh. And, you know, then you refine it with the CNC. We've also kind of come up with a series that will give you a different tool if you like that thing.
Sure.
Otherwise, just take a 240, put it on your rod, and fish it. And it'll work, you know, almost all the time.
So we're giving away a big assortment of Two Fish Jigs today, and explain the different styles, shall we say?
Well, we got different sizes. So we got everything from a mini, which is the smallest, to an LJ, which we like to say La Jolla LJ, but, you know, it stands for little J. And then we've got the JJ, which is the regular size, and then a step up, which is the Giga. And I will say that's my favorite one. It is, you know, a great swimming jig. It gets noticed. It's got a bigger profile. Now, of course, if you're fishing firecracker yellows or little bonita, they're probably not going to come and slam it, but they might. And that's
got plenty of small ones on the Giga.
That's been one of the things we've seen is, man, they'll come after it. That's awesome. You know, it's been a lot of fun. There is also the series, and I want to let one of these guys talk about it. The 240, the 270, and the 300. That has, you know, to do with having a series. They're all the same size and same profile, but we'll let Matt maybe explain why we've got those different numbers.
So there's a lot of confusion about the numbers. Everyone always thinks that's the size of the jig, and that is not true. The JJ is the size. That's the regular base size.
Which would be a very standard size surface iron.
It's the run-of-the-mill average size surface iron. The Giga is just a little bit bigger. The Giga is not huge, but the JJ is the day in, day out, just normal, everyday surface iron. And then the numbers are what the distance from the hole is, the front hole from the tip of the nose. Everything else is the same, the nose, the hips, everything else, but the hole is different. And we did that because we were kind of messing around with what we wanted to fish with, and then we decided that we just want to make a series because everyone likes a jig a little bit different. Like I like a jig. I've gone in his truck and found jigs on the ground and gone, this is going to work. And he goes, that jig sucks.
Yeah.
And I pick it up and I have one that I wrote his name on it and I take pictures with fish. But everyone likes something different. So the 240 is the most furthest forward hole. The 270 is the middle of the pack. The 300 is the furthest back. And for each water conditions, one excels. And or for how you fish. For me, the 240 is what I tie on basically day in, day out on the boat, casting, just fishing. That's the one I fish with. And then 270s.
Why?
Because it's just, you could just cast it and wind it. You don't have to think about it too much.
Okay.
And
you can wind it a little faster.
I
you
can wind it
a little slower.
I can wind it on all speeds and it'll work.
Okay.
And for most conditions, like if the current's slack or there's a lot of current, I could fish that one. The 270 is kind of growing on me. That's a very good lure. I didn't mess with that one too much. I either went 300 or 240. The 270's got a place for me too.
Okay.
And then that 300 I tie on when it's kind of slack. You kind of have to, for me, I wind that one a little slower. If I feel like the fish are kind of lazy and I just want to keep the lure in their face for a long time, that 300 is what I go for.
That's one.
Yeah.
So, and it's all about, like you explained earlier, hole position. It's not the size of the jig.
Yeah, the numbers are just the
hole
hole position. Yeah, so
and
the higher the number, the further the hole is back from the tip of the nose.
From the tip, which will make it kick more?
Kick a little bit different, yeah. So it's the pivot point. The pivot point where the lure swings back and forth. That's what changes it.
I was so surprised. It was something that opened my eyes so much just to surface iron in general that, like, you always are, when you're looking at a lure, you're looking for attributes, the sharp pips and the sharp edges and all those things. Paid no attention to that ever. And then seeing a jig that, by the machine is, exactly the same lure. And there is, like you said, it's not a completely different outside the box, but there is for sure a real difference between a 240 and a 300. And you look at those, I mean, you have to stare at it to realize that the hole placement is different. I mean, it's different, but it's not much. It's not much. And it's a, just that minute amount of difference for sure changes the way that lure swims.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. And the hole placement is a big thing that most people overlook. Like a lot of guys look for the offset hole and stuff like that. And yes, that works. But having like your hole too far back or too far forward will definitely change the jig. You have a jig that looks beautiful, but if the hole is too far forward or too far back, it's going to change it drastically.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Well, as you can hear, we have a great show lined up for today. A lot going on here.
No, you're not kidding. And I mean, just to have these three guys in here with so much experience and watching things work and not work and all the great fishing. Today's just going to be a great show. Tons of great information. And we want to have you this morning. Going to be a busy day for sure. If you want to join us, give us a call.
The actual number today, we're having a little temporary difficulty, is 844. What is it, Ricky?
844-843-6879. So temporary phone number change today. Yeah. Again, 844-843-6879. And today is going to be a very busy day on the phones this morning. Obviously, that's probably why there's not a lot of phone calls up there, because I didn't know we were having a new day either. Yeah, exactly.
We had a little technical issue there.
Again, if you want to get us on the phone, 844-843-6879. Or, as always, you can send us a text to that Let's Talk Hookup app, which is such an important part of Let's Talk Hookup. It's the easiest way to listen to the show. It's how you can catch all the archives. There's no doubt between Bohdan and Matt Bralla and Brandon Bono, there's going to be some very juicy surface iron tips and info today. And if you want to be able to go back, revisit that, listen to the show on your drive home, all of the archive shows are available on the Let's Talk Hookup app. You can listen anytime you want, 24 hours a day. If you didn't catch today's show, you get to listen to it on your way home. If you only get to get a piece of it, it's the way you do it. And it's the only way that you can text in your question. So if you want to text a question to Bohdan, to Bralla, to Brandon, that's how you do it. Make sure when you text in your questions that you leave your contact info as well. Just a name and a phone number is all we need, because we're going to have a very lucky prize winner at the end of today's show.
Yeah, holy
And
mackerel.
if that's you on the text, we want to make sure to get it to you. And basically, one lucky caller or texter today is going to win a hand-picked bag of Two Fish Jigs. And it's a killer assortment. The boys showed us this morning of
like a $250 bag.
It's a really
like
nice
I said, hey, Bohdan, can you guys bring in a few jigs to give away on the show? And he brings his bag in.
Someone's getting very hooked up
Yeah.
for sure. And both the CNC, all of the styles that Two Fish Jigs makes, and we're so proud to get to give that away to one lucky caller or texter. The way it's going to work, we'll take all of the potential phone calls that make it on the air and draw one potential winner. We'll take all of the texts that get read on the air, draw one potential winner, and then Bohdan's going to flip a coin at the end of the show, and that's going to decide whether the winner comes from the caller or texter side. But someone is getting hooked up with a full bag, hand-picked Two Fish Jigs. How cool is that? Hey, as you can hear, we got a great show coming. Lots of great info. Again, if you want to get through, 844-843-6879. When we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls, reading those texts. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Anyone that's been to the East Cape knows Smokey's Curing Company Cantina, the best food and drink in Los Barriles, and a fun place to hang out and watch your favorite sporting event. If you're lucky, you let Smokey's process your fish to take home. Their quality and service is top-notch. You'll see me at Smokey's Cantina hanging out with the owner, Chris, and my buddies when fishing in the East Cape. And we always send our fish to be processed at Smokey's, too. Now Chris has added one of the finest boats in the East Cape available for you to charter for a day or more of fishing. Vaquera. It's an immaculate 35 Cabo with a seakeeper and Captain Diego Romero, one of Baja's best. If you're looking for a great charter boat when fishing at Palmas, Playa, or other resorts, Vaquera, booked at BajaSmokies.com, should be your choice. So when you're headed to the East Cape, be sure to stop by Smokey's Curing Company Cantina. Send your fish to be processed there and fish aboard the 35 Cabo Vaquera. Check BajaSmokies.com for more details.
Offshore fishing is on. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. For bluefin tuna and yellowtail, nothing beats the Shimano Talica, the pinnacle of lever drag two-speed reels. Shimano Speedmaster 2 is also an extremely durable, high-performance lever drag reel for the more budget-minded angler. Both the Talica and Speedmaster 2 feature Shimano's Hagani body to prevent misalignment of moving parts under the heaviest of load. For all your Shimano, visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Whether you're boating, floating, paddling, fishing, or just chilling, remember a good day on the water always starts with everyone wearing life jackets. Save the ones you love. Life jackets save lives. A message from California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways.
Give your boat the love it deserves and install a custom sea deck kit from Blue Seas Fabrication. Blue Seas is the West Coast's only certified sea deck fabricator and installer. Sea deck upgrades the look and feel of any boat, old or new. Sea deck non-skid decking adds comfort, convenience, safety, and value. Let the experts from Blue Seas Fabrication custom fit your deck, bridge, and interiors with stylish, durable, stain-resistant, and easy-to-clean sea deck. Check BlueSeasFabrication.com and enhance your fishing experience.
For your next fishing adventure, check Point Loma Sport Fishing. They offer half-day and full-day trips daily, perfect for families and the novice or seasoned fishermen. Point Loma Sport Fishing also offers overnight to multi-day trips, targeting the best of seasonal catches. Visit PointLomaSportFishing.com, where you can purchase tickets online and get more information on the trips available, or call 619-223-1627. Want to go fishing? Point Loma Sport Fishing.
Stand by, you got Brandon.
Covered.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning, talking fishing with the boys. It's going to be a very busy show again, so I want to read it since it's a little outside the norm. Today, we have a new phone number to call in.
And we don't know whether it's just today or whether it's going to be permanent, so we'll see.
Yeah, but we do know today, if you want...
The way the engine... Let me explain. The way the engineer... I got to read it because it's like kind of... He said we had a critical data center failure.
That does
in
not
the
sound
phone
good
system.
at all.
Not ideal.
I know very little about phone systems, but that sounds bad.
Carl, the sports grid engineer, is a master, and he got us on backup on the air and got a backup phone line for our callers.
Quickly done, man. Impressive.
Very quickly.
And again, that backup phone line, if you want it, 844-843-6879.
844-843 843-643-6879. And if you're looking at the YouTube or Facebook video, or YouTube Live or Facebook Live, you can see Royal Star at the dock there, and you see Independence in the background there. A lot going on at the landing today. It's a busy day. Even though there's a triathlon going on, it was a little difficult getting in, but we'll come back in the studio now.
I'm going to reserve my comment for later on that.
Yeah, well, okay, I won't. How can the city of San Diego allow these people to multiple times a year block our entrance into our businesses?
Yeah, tell me.
Period.
No.
I mean, it's just not right.
Well, I'm sure we'll get a credit, for all of the lost opportunity people coming in trying to go. Right. We had the gnarliest one was a few weeks back when those Coronado Islands were biting so good. And everybody was wanting to come in to buy their biosphere bracelets, and there was 2,000 people running in front of the store. The police were like, "Oh no, you can't come in." They're like, "What do you mean? Like, I need my biosphere bracelet." I don't know. I'll tell you,
I don't know what that is.
What are you talking about?
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, I got here early. In fact, it's like, and there's not a runner in sight. It's still pitch black. No, you can't get through here.
Yeah.
It's like,
right on.
Very good. I just wanted to show our audience on YouTube and Facebook Live this bag of jigs that the boys brought today. Look at that.
Thanks, guys.
This is a really nice bag that somebody, lucky caller or texter is going to win. Speaking of caller, Brandon Hayward from Bite Sport Fishing is on the line. Good morning, Brandon.
Hey, what'd you say, Brandon?
Hey, good morning. You guys got me?
Yeah, loud and clear, buddy. Nice to hear from you.
Good to hear from you as well. Good to check in. Haven't checked in a while. Just thought I'd give a little report. We spent most of our season, well, as always, we fished sea bass, and that bit for us into late July. And then, given the trajectory for the bluefin, we were in Long Beach and running out of there. But we brought the Freeman back down. The new Mexicat, I slid that in last night. It still needs to have a little bit of work done, but
that's at Fisherman's now.
And and we're gonna kick things off tomorrow. I was kind of thinking about what to do given the landscape and not a lot of kind of filler fish offshore. And we're gonna spend half the day fishing yellowtail and bluefin at the islands. That unique opportunity to catch a bluefin in 80, 90 feet of water on the anchor is always pretty cool. And then we're gonna do swordfish the other half of the day. So if a guy wanted to come out and try to catch a couple fish to bring home and then learn about swordfish, or hopefully get engaged with one, that's our plan for tomorrow. Might do that trip again, might not, might be the only one of the year, but kind of seemed like a fun way to kick things off. We only have one guy signed up, and we're going to run no matter what. So one guy's going to get very lucky, or even if we only have two people, we're still going. Okay.
And which boat's it going to be on?
That's on the Freeman.
On the Freeman. Ooh. With the new twin 450s.
With the new engines, the thing it pretty much flies now.
Yeah,
well, it pretty much flew before. Now there's now there's another 100 horsepower behind.
Yeah. So how does one get on that trip?
You can just book through the landing, whether you want to do it on the website or give the landing a call. And it's all online, and they'll get you on there. We're leaving at 6 and getting back late after dark, probably.
Okay,
that sounds fun.
But with that boat, you have a lot of fishing time because you're there in like 1 minute.
It's pretty doggone fast. We've been cruising at about 42 knots at 3,700 RPMs with those new engines.
Oh my!
No way!
Holy mackerel! What's your fuel consumption on that? Just out of curiosity.
It's about what I got on the 28 Parkers, like 1-to-1, 1.1, 0.9 under a load, but it's right there with what we got with twin 300s on the Parkers, or what we had with 350s on the Freeman. It's incredible.
That's impressive.
We had a little bit last week, Pete. The cool thing about that engine from a charter perspective is you can service the lower units in the water.
Right.
Wow.
So you don't have to come out until you have to do your water pumps at 500 to 700 hours. So we put on 100 hours in a week a lot of times. So
sure.
That's been really, really nice, and no issues at all. We're at about 800 hours. Thrilled with those engines. Not thrilled with what I had to pay for them, but thrilled to have them.
Yeah, for sure. And they'll last for a long time because they're Yamahas. So once again, fishermanslanding.com. You can book right now. 6 a.m. departure tomorrow morning for Bite Sport Fishing, Coronado Islands, bluefin, yellowtail, then swordfish.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
cool.
And it's open party, limited to how many?
We just take 5 on there. That boat fishes 6 a lot, but we're just limited to 5, and it's substantially less. It's 800 and something bucks with taxes and everything all in. So it's substantially less than a big bluefin trip.
Yeah. So if you want to go on a pretty amazing ride and maybe, likelihood at this late date, maybe go fishing with just a couple of your friends, right?
And
It's,
if anybody's going to kick off the swordfish season, it's those guys.
Oh,
I was
no
just gonna say,
kidding.
you want to talk about virtually a private lesson from the best in the biz on swordfish. That's worth it beyond everything else. The catching a bluefin and yellowtail at the island, certainly a fun part, but just the getting to go to school on a damn near one-on-one perspective on rigging and how they drop it and everything else is the real value.
And
of that
and Dylan's going to be on the boat as well tomorrow. He's my captain. He has a 14-foot Mexi Cat. He's got 5 solo swords on that thing, and in the recreational charter landscape, no one's caught more than him the last couple of years.
There's no doubt about that.
Passion, and he's the mad scientist of it. So you definitely get some takeaway.
Oh boy! So you and Dylan?
Yeah, we'll both be on there.
Holy man! Wow.
If
You're actually going to go fishing
on there. I'm going to fish today too, Pete.
In your face.
Roger. All right. Well, great job. So once again, fishermansland.com, Bite Sport Fishing, book it. Go fish with the Masters tomorrow. What an opportunity.
Yeah. So that's the play. I appreciate the time. And if we catch one, I'll check back in.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it. Brandon.
Thanks.
Brandon from Bite Sport Fishing Charters. Wow, that's quite something. So phones are packed, even though we have that new number of 844-843-6879. I should explain that is actually the Sports Grid toll-free number.
Oh, funny.
So,
okay.
So there you go. So let's go ahead and jump into that.
You got it. Why don't we start it off this morning with Mike, and he's calling us from Torrance. Mike, thanks for getting us started here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, boys. It's good to talk to you. I'm real excited about your new product, the Two Fish Lures. I just want a quick report about fishing with Aliar a couple weeks ago. It's incredible. He puts out so much effort, and we got limits of bluefin, and what can you say?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He is amazing.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right. Appreciate it,
Mike.
Now, you had an interesting text, too, that came through, right?
I do, but before that, I thought it would be a good time to highlight, just because you mentioned fishing with Aliar and fishing in the nighttime and the big bluefin fishing. The one other thing that, I get so wrapped up into surface iron fishing. My favorite way to catch a fish. You guys make, now my favorite surface iron and all that. But Two Fish Jigs does make another lure that I know happens to be a favorite of Captain Aliar, and that's the Midnight Rider. And that's something we haven't talked about at all. But probably a lure we've sold more at the tackle store than anything else. And again, a tremendously successful thing, whether that's from Bohdan, the non-tinkerer, but a cooler word for that or what. But that's another thing that you guys haven't mentioned before that I know has been a tremendously successful.
Well, not everybody needs a surface iron. It's kind of technique specific, and guys need the whole outfit to do that. But 100% of the guys going on a day and a half plus, maybe even overnight plus trip out of Fisherman's Landing or anywhere else, they need a nighttime lure to offer to these bluefin, and nothing has produced more than the Midnight Rider.
So that's why you hired him. Okay, I got it now. I get it. Now I get why he's on your team. I understand.
You got to know what to make. Before you try and say as a lure designer or somebody who's trying to make something for people, it's like, well, what are people going to use? And if you're trying to make something that's like, God, that's really cool, but it's not what people are using right now. And so what is a nighttime jig? We wanted a compact, heavy, nighttime jig that would go fast. That's not really complicated. What have guys been using? A sinker.
Right.
So how could we improve a sinker? Well, let me tell you how we got a sinker, and we think it's more than a sinker. That's kind of what Matt and some of the others say. It's more than just a sinker.
Yeah. It's very similar to a sinker, but it falls and flutters and
birthed from the Eddie Baum style of lure. And then you guys took that and put the Two Fish Jig spin on it, made a better.
We wanted to make something that looked a little more fishy than just a sinker.
Now, wait a minute. You fish in the daytime there. You fish like normal people hours on the San Diego. So why are you creating something that
because I know
fishes
people
at night?
needed it. I fish at night sometimes too.
Okay,
I've got some fish on it.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm trying to catch one in the daytime. We kind of went away from some of the fish, but I know I can catch one in the daytime on it.
Yeah, on it. Yeah. So, but it's kind of a. Would you call it like a souped up sinker rig?
It's more of like a in between of an Eddie Baum and like one of those, like I would say like a West Coast Jiggers HD. where it's like a similar style jig to that, where it's a small, compact but heavy jig, and it flutters good. And on the wind up, it does kind of swim around. It's almost like a super heavy yo-yo jig.
All I know is Captain Renee from the Shogun and Captain Aliar for the Player Supreme are very much on your team because I can't tell you how many times we've had guys that came through the shop that, that we're looking for that style of rig. And, we have a lot of different options, but all of a sudden, no, I'm fishing with Renee, and he said this was the one that I had to buy. Or Aliar was the same thing.
Love Renee.
Now you also make yo-yos too.
Yes. Yeah. So there's 3 different yo-yos. There's a brass monkey, which is a brass jig, which is obviously pretty popular these days.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's dense. It's kind of similar to it's a smaller, dense, fast sinking jig. And then we have a zinc donkey, which is made out of zinc, which is the standard material that yo-yo jigs are made out of. And that one's kind of a slower sink, flutter kind of jig. They bite that one on the fall a lot, even yellowtail. And then there's the LJ, which is another brass LJ, which is the smaller, medium-sized jig that we have, but it's a brass one, and that one's really heavy.
You've been fishing either offshore or the Coronado Islands every day on the San Diego.
Yes.
Are there any yo-yo fish?
Yeah, definitely.
Surface iron fish?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh,
Bluefin?
I haven't got a bluefin yet at the islands, but it'll come.
They're around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
On the lure.
Yes, I'll get one on the lure eventually.
Yeah.
But we haven't had that opportunity yet.
Yeah, but they're eating the bait.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're a little big. They're kind of a pain to catch right now.
Yeah, because you have to use light line and
the skiff world is a little different than the sport boat world. I watch these skiff guys catch them on light line all the time, but I also watch their stern, and it's void of sea lions.
Yeah.
If we're stopped on the anchor and we're fishing, there's usually at least 3 on us.
Yeah.
And more often than not, there's more. The other day we had an anchor job down in that area where the guys are catching bluefin. We had 4 bluefin and 2 yellowtail. Every single one of them had a chunk missing from the sea line.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's the method you use to get them through the sea lions?
Pull harder.
Just pull hard. Yeah. Tighten down the drag and go, huh?
Yeah. Put your purse down and pull.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way to make
I mean, they're either coming in or coming off. You got to get them in.
It's kind of nature of the beast at the Coronado Islands.
Yeah. Especially right now. They're
aggressive.
They are very aggressive. There's a lot of boats around. There's boats zipping around, getting them all fired up. There's a lot of sardines in the water.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced they recognize the boats.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh hey, that's Matt.
Yeah.
Say hi to Matt.
Here he comes.
Yep. They sure know us. It's pretty amazing. I've watched them swim by boats all the time to come to us.
Wow.
Yeah.
How heavy a line can a guy get a bite from a bluefin at the Coronado Islands?
We've been fishing 30 pound.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of skiff guys out here. I'm talking about 20 pound.
Right.
There's a lot of like 40 and 50 pound fish,
Right.
and we're losing them. Like since we're in the shallows, we're losing them to other boats.
Sure.
We're you hook a 50 pounder on 25 pound. It's taking a lot of line. And, it's kind of a small area, and there's a lot of boat traffic.
Yeah.
Is fluorocarbon and a small hook a must?
Yes. Yeah. We're fishing. The hooks that I've been using are like I literally just made a video about this on Captain's Concepts the other day.
Your other job.
Yeah, my other job.
Got a lot of hats, boy.
Yeah, that's it. I've been fishing the Gamakatsu Nautilus in the size 2 and 4, and I really like that hook for finesse bait fishing. Yeah. But 30 pounds is what we've been fishing. Occasionally we can get away with 25 pound. And you definitely get more bites on the lighter line, obviously, but your odds of landing them go way down.
You said it best, too. The difference between what you can do with a rod and reel in your hand when you're trying to pull on one from 30 pound to 20 pound are 2 different worlds.
Night and day. And like the other thing we're losing too is like we're fishing in shallow, so there's like old lobster gear, there's rocks, there's kelp. Those fish take long runs on 25 pound, and the scope of your line just ends up in
touching
junk.
things.
Touching things, and it's not good.
Yeah. And they're tough.
Yeah, and they're big ones. We've caught the other day we put one on the scale, it was close to 60 pounds.
Holy
unreal.
Yeah,
unreal.
Yeah. Anchor fishing, and we were anchored in 60 feet of water then.
60 feet of water.
20 miles from home.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
So
there's
cool.
like excellent sign of bluefin. Me and Ryan have been talking about it. It's the most, like, I haven't been driving as long as Booger has, but it's the most bluefin we've seen down there.
That's so
wow.
Cool.
Pretty.
What a
That's
fun
why.
time, man.
That's why the
That's
boat
awesome.
traffic.
Oh, and the yellowtail fishing.
Yeah,
the yellowtail
for sure.
fishing, and there's nothing else.
And there's
going
nothing
on.
else going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And those.
Oh yeah.
Things. Yeah.
And there's probably nobody there today.
Yeah.
On a Saturday.
I'm sure it's pretty.
I guess
crowded.
yesterday was quite quite the show. You were there yesterday?
I was not there yesterday.
Okay, yeah, I heard it was a lot.
But it sounded wonderful.
Hey, let's go down to the East Cape and talk to our buddy Chris from Smokies Curing and Cantina. Good morning, Chris.
What's up, Chris?
Pedro, Ricky, buenos dias. How we doing today?
Excelente. Any big tuna down there?
Well, yeah, there's some tuna, but man, I don't know if you're aware. We just had a storm roll through. We got lucky. It didn't get all the way up to a hurricane, but it was a tropical storm, and it actually turned out to be a perfect storm in that very little wind and a lot of rain, which is always good. But you never know when they're coming. We've seen them go from a tropical storm to a major hurricane in very little time. So you got to prepare. I mean, of course, all the boats are pulled, well before the storm. We pulled Vaquera on Tuesday, but I mean, so short week of fishing. But yeah, tuna's still coming in. We got, they're still out. They were still out 30, 40 miles. But then later in the week, I think it was Wednesday, we got some in at about 17 miles straight off Los Barillas, but more off of Pescadero to the north. So 17 miles out of Los Barillas. Interestingly, we got a couple boats that caught a bunch of Dorado on Wednesday, although in the smaller range, 15-pound range, but close in, right in front of Palmas de Cortez to La Ribera. So, and these, and of course, still lots of marlin being caught, but these storms will stir the water up too. The Dorado bite's been pretty slow. So we're thinking, these storms, they kind of stir the water up, stir the pot. So maybe we'll start seeing some more of those big Dorado coming in, over the next couple of weeks. But, actually what a nice storm we had. Cause again, no wind damage, not really any water damage, just a really nice, steady, hard rain. And the sun's out today and the boats are going to start being put back in the water today. I would assume. Still no fishing yet, but tomorrow we should hit the ground running again tomorrow and see what we can come up with.
Well, was that storm a surprise, or did you know for a long time it was coming?
No, we knew it was coming. We've been watching it, but and you're watching it for a good week to 10 days out, and it changes every day. It was actually a direct hit, but it was just a tropical storm, Ileana, I believe it was. And but like I said, there was a year way back when it was a Category 1 hit Cabo, and you're like, okay, this is going to dissipate. And by the time it got to the East Cape, it was a Cat 4, and that was John, and that created a lot of damage. So you never count your chickens on these until it's over. So you're always, you never leave your boats in the water. You get prepared, you batten down the hatches, and then something good happens like this. It's like, that was great. We needed a good rain, and on to the next, man.
Well, as Bobby Van Wormer many years ago on Let's Talk Hookup declared, September is the month of the hurricane in the East Cape, right?
We get hit in September. September's the month where we usually get hit.
That's it. Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, of course, if somebody wants to book Vaquera, still spots available here in the prime time. As we know, the fishing only gets better from here in the fall. Want to come to Smokies and have some great food or get the fish processed? How do we find you, Chris?
Right now, we're going to go to vaquerasportfishing.com, and you can get a hold of us there, and you can always email me at bahasmokedog@gmail with 2 G's. And yeah, we got plenty of trips booked, but we got plenty of trips available. So, we got, like I said, get a hold of us, and we'll be happy to take you fishing.
All right. Sounds great, Chris, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.
Can't wait, guys. Take care.
See you, Chris. All right, that's going to wrap up our Baja report. And again, want to mention a great sponsor, and Matt Brawlett just talked about it before, and that's Gamakatsu Hooks. And even with that great number 2 and number 4, small circle hook, light wire, allows the bait to swim great. Right? It's not only about hooks with Gamakatsu. They're also much more, including those killer brand new Gamakatsu fillet knives. Once you've tried one, you're going to want to try more. Also, their new tools are great, including the very special braid Spectra scissors that are made with ceramic blades, so they'll never rust, super sharp. You can meet your local dealer or check gamakatsu.com.
All right. Hey, phones are packed up. Lots of texts. You have a good text,
I thought so, yeah. It said, hey, I was excited when I heard that Two Fish Jigs was on, and I heard that when Two Fish Jigs started, the original sandcast jigs were made from metal off of an old swim step that was sitting on the roof at Seaforth. Is there any truth to that story? And if so, can Bohdan give us the details? That's from Dave in San Diego.
Well, there is, a sourcing of raw materials you got to figure out. And I started really as a scrapper, trying to melt shit down. Can I say shit? Sorry.
Not really.
So melt stuff down and, ended up doing that. And Matt gave me a call one day. He was down at the, landing and said, "Hey, can you use any kind of aluminum?" I said, "Yes. We can melt it down and turn it into stuff." So, they showed up with the old swim deck from the Sea-Watch.
That's great.
Yeah, the Sea-Watch swim step from when they did sea camps.
Wow.
Stopped doing sea camps, so they didn't need it anymore.
They didn't need it.
Load kids on and off for snorkeling and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
How cool is that? So some of those lures out there, and maybe more in the future, were made from the swim step of the Sea-Watch.
Correct.
That's got some soul. Like that lure, pretty cool. That lure's got some cool soul behind it. That's a rad story.
Yeah. So you can basically take any raw material aluminum and turn it into.
There's different kinds of aluminum that you can source. So a lot of guys, aircraft grade aluminum is what you can find at the metal supply shops. There's different, if you weld aluminum, there's different kinds of aluminum that have different characters. There's no such thing as really pure aluminum. They're alloys. It's mostly aluminum, and then there's certain other things in it that make it flow better, make it, actually, if you're going to cast it, make it better. For, like I said, for welding, they put different things in the alloy to make it weld better and make it stronger, or make it with different properties to it. But, the 6061, which is what a lot of people are familiar with, that's the aircraft grade. We use a lot of that. It flows really well when you're melting it. It works really good. But as I said, I have melted a lot of things down and turned them into jigs. Even some guys think in the old days, they used pot metal for like the old Salis, 7X is what one guy told me, which if you don't know what pot metal is, you put some aluminum in there, and then you put some other things in there, whatever you can get, whatever melts down, you put. And so that's why some guys said the old 7Xs were a little heavier, because it had some other things in with the aluminum.
Gotcha.
So it does affect things. The reality is, we're trying to make a consistent. So I usually use that 6061 to control whatever variables we can control.
Gotcha.
That's cool. Hey, well, it's a great story. And like I said, I just think it's cool that soul survives on that thing. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More of your phone calls, more text messages, and a whole lot more with the boys from Two Fish. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on that Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Wait, a 40-pound white sea bass off an inflatable Hobie kayak? Tell me about that.
I'm Logan from Fastlane Kayaks on Mission Bay. The whole story began when Ron Lane lent my parents some Hobie Mirage iTrex to put on their boat and take out to Catalina Island. That's when I borrowed the iTrek 11, threw it in my car, and drove down to Baja for a fishing and camping trip. Ended up landing a bucket list 40-pound white sea bass on the inflatable.
Dang, that sounds even better than our Mammoth trip, when we packed up the kayaks in the car, snowboarded all morning, then drove down to the lakes, launched the iTrex, and fished for trout all afternoon.
Honestly, the iTrek inflatables are the ultimate fishing platform. From trout in the Sierras, calicos at Catalina, and white sea bass in the Sea of Cortez, they can do it all.
And we've documented all these trips, so check out Fastlane Kayaks on Instagram to see more. And if you think you want a kayak, but you're on the fence, come down to our shop. We're right on Mission Bay, and we would be happy to throw one in the water and let you give it a try. So call Fastlane Kayaks to schedule a demo today.
Summit Gasoline at the San Diego Sports Arena is the place to fill up your car, truck, and boat with the lowest gas and diesel prices. Did you know Summit is also the place to get the lowest prices on gourmet ice and snacks for your trip? $3.99 for 25 pounds of ice, as many as you want. That's half the price of others. Plus, you get 100 pounds of ice free with a 30-gallon fill. Kirkland products at lower prices than the store that makes them, plus dozens of great snacks for just 89 cents. They can now accommodate 24 cars and trucks to fuel at the same time, plus 12 diesel pumps, easy in and out too. Step into the Summit Bistro and enjoy what Martha and her crew have for you. Fresh made burritos, sandwiches, and salad, along with beer, beverages, and of course, always free ice. Summit Gasoline low prices, friendly staff, free ice, and easy in and out with your boat and trailer at the San Diego Sports Arena. For quality, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. The quality of the captains and crew, as well as the great meals and service, speak for themselves. Comfortable staterooms, a super clean and well taken care of boat are just a few of the reasons the Islander is so popular. The Islander specializes in 1.5 to 5 day fishing. Experience the Islander difference. Visit IslanderSportFishing.com. Great fishing is what Seaforth Sports Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limits, Elgato Doe, Pride, Polaris Supreme, Tribute, Pacifica, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth, Sea-Watch, and San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or schedule, check SeaforthLanding.com. Run by fishermen for fishermen in Mission Bay.
Captain Jamie Tennis from Seasoned Sport Fishing here. For the past few seasons, a dart-styled metal jig has come into play in a big way for tuna offshore or even rockfish down deep. AFCO's crossbreed jig has quickly become the go-to for many since it came onto the market. AFCO's crossbreed jig is good to go right out of the package with a 4X treble hook, heavy-duty split rings, West Coast colors, and sizes 60 gram to 120 gram. Pick one up today at your local tackle store or learn more on AFCO.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning, talking Two Fish Jigs and having a lot of fun doing it, man. The phones have been absolutely
a lot
packed
of
in.
input there. Once again, we don't know whether this is going to be our permanent call-in line or the temporary for today because they had a catastrophic failure at the line. We're just glad to be on the air because it also included the other line too, but we're good. 844-843-6879. We have such phenomenal engineers at Sport Grid. They do things very quickly and get us back up on there for sure. So let's jump into the phones.
You got it. How about we talk to Cheer, who's calling us from Cardiff this morning. Good morning, Cheer. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just had to call in to talk about these Two Fish Jigs. I just got back from Cedros with my buddies Eddie Means and Dave Rohde and my son, Matt. And before we went down, I grabbed what I could. I got as many of these Two Fish Jigs as I could, which weren't very many, gentlemen.
Yeah, Brandon hides them in the back.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I saved some for Cheer.
Brandon helped me get a couple.
Yes, I did.
Come on now.
Yeah, you guys had a pretty impressive trip down there. Was it you or Eddie that caught that giant broomtail?
Oh, we can't.
We must have lost him. Yeah, well, hopefully he'll be able to call back.
Yeah, hopefully. So that was fun. Well, it was just a fun story because
Cheer
came in one time looking for information on surface iron, and it was in the afternoon at the tackle store. I'm like, well, I can tell you everything that I like, and I like a lot about these ones. But I was like, if you really want the expert info, Brandon will be here in about an hour. And Cheer hung out in the parking lot for an hour waiting for Brandon. Got the full. I mean,
was he on time that day?
Of course he was.
Yeah,
that's what I always do. Yeah,
I'm not known him to be late almost ever. If I can think about it.
Johnny on the spot. That's what we call him.
That is what we call him. Yeah, you call him Johnny for short, but it's for on the spot.
But Cheer and his group of buds went down there, and they were all armed with Two Fish Jigs, and they had a phenomenal trip at Cedros, and they came back with this, a camera roll of pictures, and it was very impressive.
Wow. Cool. That's awesome. Hey, I have a great text here from DJ in San Diego. And he says, I've have both irons and Midnight Rider, and they are produced well for me. I would like to get the guys' input on whether color matters for surface yo-yo jigs, and if so, what colors do you recommend? What did they call you? The Jig Jesus?
They do call him that. They also call him the Michael Jordan of full day sport fishing.
So colors,
all kinds of things.
Yeah. Those are the nicest things I usually call. Color to me, no. For yellowtail, no. But everyone likes colors. For me, when I pick a surface iron, I just want something I can see at the extension of my cast. So that's why we did, like a lot of companies have like colors on the sides. We just have a base color and a tip color. Like the nose is a different color. And the reason for that is because I can see that the furthest away. I want to know what my jig's doing at the very extension of my cast.
So you don't think it makes a darn bit of difference what color it is on the surface?
No, not really. No.
This is the kind of spiel I give customers in the shop all the time. And And it's a preference thing. And my preference is I don't believe that color makes any difference at all. Yeah. But with that said, confidence to me is everything. And if you have confidence in that color, the thing is going to get bit because you're going to fish it hard.
You're going to fish it good.
Yeah. One of the things that I love that you guys have done with the colors on the CNC jig, the 240, the 300, the 270 of the JJ line, was there was a lot of white jigs that, like you said, you can see very well. You can see what's going on, but there was just a little. And I mean, that color meant nothing for anybody else, but I love whatever. The old green swirl sardine. So there's that white jig. That's exactly what Brala talked about, but a little like, okay, well, that one's me. And then somebody else, well, I really like a blue and white jig. Well, it was a white one with a little just a little shot, just a little something to break it up. And I really like it.
If that amount of color gives somebody confidence to fish the jig, that's the right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it probably means nothing. Yeah, but I like that green color, so I'm gonna get that one. I mean, it could have been any one of those. But.
Well, yeah, and a solid white jig doesn't really do it for a lot of guys. So if you put a little accent of whatever color it is, it catches the fish.
There you go.
Now here's the big question, Pete.
Yeah.
Ask Matt what he thinks about chartreuse.
Yeah, chartreuse is something I really like.
Do you?
Yeah. It's one of the most popular colors in
fly fishing, for sure.
Every kind of fishing.
Yeah.
Except for Southern California fishing.
Yeah.
Or I guess in leadheads we use chartreuse a lot. But I like chartreuse for making them mad. I feel like it's a good.
Oh, it's like an angry color.
I think so sometimes. And it just like, it's bright. They can see it from a long ways away. If you guys have fished surface irons long enough, you've had a yellowtail come from a long, long ways to come eat your jig. And if they could see it from further away,
good idea.
Yeah, you're.
So do your chartreuse sell pretty well?
I don't think so.
Not yet. Anyway.
Not as well. I think they sell well. Brandon doesn't believe in them, like he said. He doesn't have confidence in them, but they sell at other tackle stores extremely well.
I just know factually that mint sells the best.
Why is that?
Just because that's what 90% of people want and buy, and that's what. The great Pete Gray of Let's Talk Hookup requested,
because that's what everyone's fishing with.
Yeah.
You give me a chartreuse jig, I'll put you in
I like that idea.
But mint gives people confidence, and that confidence will produce fish, and that's everything. If you're going to fish the jig hard, you're going to get bites.
Yeah. For sure.
So these guys will say, I have two colors that I think really matter. We have our mint, and then there's this light blue. And Steve P on the Mission Bell said, if you look at a lot of bait fish and a lot of things, they're this light blue color, and everything eats them. You look at a smelt or other things in the water, they have that color, but nobody was really making that color jig. And so
I like that one too.
That's a good color. I like our mint, but chartreuse. Give it a chance, Pete.
Give it a chance. You know what? I'm a fly fisherman, and chartreuse is the color, right? I mean, that stuff works.
And maybe not all chartreuse, but we do things. And in freshwater, a lot of guys, like I grew up in Minnesota, we fish what's called a lemon head, which is white with the chartreuse head. And that accent, looks like, a lot of the bait fish. It gives it some kind of flash, some kind of sheen, something that the fish haven't seen. And like Matt said, he said it makes them angry. If you talk to Larry Dahlberg or other guys who are lure designers, they'll say what that color is really doing is it's abnormal. It's nothing they've seen before. And the fish look at it and they'll eat it because they know it's not normal.
Not normal. And they get angry at it, like you said. Yeah.
You talk to Corey all the time. People love asking Corey about leadhead and swim bait combos and questions and colors. And Corey will say the same thing on leadhead color. He goes, it absolutely doesn't matter, except for chartreuse. I like that. I'm a study of Corey so much. I mean, nobody has stared at baits and had the success like Corey has. And he says the same thing. If you're fishing a bait fish color, a clear, a silver, whatever else, he likes a chartreuse. No doubt, man. There's something to it.
All right, you better start producing more chartreuse. Let's jump into the phones.
No, Brandon's still right. They're gonna.
It's still gonna sell.
Where it's at.
Mint chartreuse might be the new.
Let's go. I'm in. I'll take some.
Alex in San Carlos is up next here. Let's Talk Hookup. Alex, good morning. Thanks for joining us. We got you there, Alex.
Good morning, guys. You guys able to hear me?
Good, buddy.
Okay, cool. So I used to go to school for CNC programming, and I was really curious how much time does that really cut down as far as like making them by hand? Like how fast are you guys able to pump out a CNC jig? Also, what type of CNC machines are you guys using?
Yeah, those are some great production questions. I don't get lost on the production side, but I really appreciate it. And anybody who's kind of tinkered it, I'm shocked how many machinists and other guys who've been in that world have asked me these questions. I started learning on what's called a Tormach, 1500, and it took me over 2 hours to make a jig. And I quickly said, that isn't going to work for production. Yeah. And so, right now they're being run on Haas mills is what they are. And the horsepower on those and the ability to do it, it takes about 4 minutes to do a jig. And so, it's pretty amazing how fast the machines can work today. A lot of it has to do with horsepower. A lot of it is those are production sized mills that are doing it. So it's outside of really the hobbyist range. It's outside of, what somebody will have in their home. But like I said, how do you learn machining and how do you learn what it is? So, all those things that machinists know, line pathing and step over and all these, technical terms that fishermen are going to kind of glaze over and say, boy, that's crazy. It's made me kind of learn a lot more about the jig and even about the shape that we've chosen.
And so for the layman like myself, CNC, why do you use CNC rather than sandcast or the old traditional ways?
So if we're just going to talk about, production, so sandcast is really the oldest form of manufacturing something in metal and even doing it at scale. So you can do it. It is also very time consuming, not just to finish the product off, but you have to prepare each mold individually. And then you can go from what is called sandcasting, you can do die casting, but there you're using a permanent mold that you don't have to remake every time. And so your production can go up. And so a lot of production stuff was all die cast in the old days, like even your matchbook cars or anything. Most stuff we buy now is die cast, whether it's plastic or whether it's other things. What CNC does is you're no longer using molten metal. You're using a stock piece of metal and you're using bits to chew away the metal. So it's kind of like sculpting, where you take away the rock or the other parts. You're actually contouring the metal itself. And with the machine that's controlled by a computer, you can then replicate that. Now,
exactly
that takes
the same every time.
It takes a very expensive machine to do it. Same thing with die
So that's
casting.
why they swim the same.
Yeah.
Versus a die cast, everyone is different. You got to throw it. Oh, that one doesn't swim.
Well,
that
die
one
cast
swim.
is going to have closer tolerances. Sandcast is going to have the most variation. And so what we're doing is you're really what CNC machining, and it used to be out of reach for small products like we're having. So like if you were manufacturing something and you wanted to make a ton of them, the time it took, die casting can do it by far faster.
That's cool.
And so this becomes the question, how much time do you have? And so the cost per minute on the machine and then the cost for the machinist is really what you're talking about. So labor and parts. So die casting is the cheapest. It's the fastest. It's going to have minimal variation, but it's going to have more variation than a CNC produced. A computer product is going to be the closest tolerances. Die cast you can get very good, but all that ends up in your die cast it depends on your mold. So if your mold isn't machined right, your basic shape is going to be. And so therefore, molds for die casting can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
There it is. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming away, including checking in with the catch report. We're going to find out what's biting and a whole lot more amazing info like that. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and Sports Grid Radio Network.
Hey, this is Rosie with Cedros Sport Fishing. We have always been the leader with all-inclusive fishing trips to Cedros Island. We now have 2 lodges to choose from and both sit on the cliff's edge with relaxing gorgeous morning sunrises. With direct flights departing to the CBX in San Diego, we are committed to providing first-class service to our experience. Come check out the yellowtail and calico bass capital in the world. Nobody does it better than Cedros Sport Fishing. Call me at 619-772-7570 or check us out at cedrosportfishing.com. Book soon. Trips are going fast.
If it was possible to improve near perfection in a lever drag saltwater reel, Shimano is the company that can do it. Introducing the all-new Talica 12A and 16A 2-speed lever drag reel. These new Talica reels raise the bar of Shimano's flagship reel again with ultra smooth smooth reeling and powerful drag performance to conquer long battles with trophy game fish. The addition of Shimano's innovative Infinity Drive technology leverages a new drag design to increase drag force and produce up to 30% lighter rotation during tough battles. The new generation of Talica now features X-Protect technology to boast high-level water resistance in vital areas. These new Shimano reels feature a Hagani body made of highly rigid aluminum to reduce the reel's overall weight. The palming side plate is an additional 6% smaller than the previous generation. Push the limit. Shimano's all-new Talica 12A and 16A reel, available at your local Shimano dealer.
Hi, this is Dwayne Diego from Pinnacle Sport Fishing, and I love my Costa Del Mar sunglasses. You cannot beat the 580G lenses and the killer frames that they come with. The 580G lenses are by far the most clear and durable scratch-resistant lenses I've ever used. And I'm far from easy on my equipment. We use it day in and day out, and having that scratch resistance that they have is a game changer for us. I rely on my Costa Del Mars every day. They take care of my eyes and help see what's out there. For more information, you can check out costasunglasses.com.
Turner's Outdoorsman, Southern California's #1 shooting, hunting, and fishing tackle retailer since 1971, is right in your neighborhood. Now with stores throughout Southern, Central, and Northern California. No one does it better. Turner's Outdoorsman brings you the best prices and selection, plus a knowledgeable staff that will help make your day on the water or in the field more fun. Stop by your neighborhood Turner's Outdoorsman. To find a location nearest you, check the web at turners.com and sign up for special deals and more.
Inside information is everything when it comes to catching fish in Southern California. You need a code group to connect with what's happening on the water. Fishdope.com is your code group. Inside information available at your fingertips 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Fishdope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. Fishdope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane, along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. They become your code group. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Catine, 365 days a year. Fishdope.com has online planning tools, temperature and chlorophyll charts, hot bite icons, and more. Take it from me, if you don't have Fishdope.com, you're not part of the in-the-know crowd. Membership is affordable and good for an entire year. Plus, use the special code and save $30 on a new Fishdope.com membership. Check it out today. Fishdope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel.
Now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. Get ready for more of the best fishing information and the hottest tips on improving your angling skills. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And now, Southern California's sports fishing voice, the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup, right here on the Let's Talk Hookup app, Sports Grid Radio Network, as well as Facebook and YouTube Live. Pete Gray here, along with Rock Cod Rick Maxa, in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup here, right next to pretty busy San Diego Landings in Point Loma. The guys from Two Fish Jigs, we have some serious talent here. Bohdan, Brandon, and Matt. Of course, Matt's probably the one that, well, you've got 2 jobs, Bohdan. Yeah, you're a pastor. You've only got 1 job, right, Brandon?
Well, or do you have I got 2.
Well, you got 2. That's right. You've got 2 fish.
And sometimes you give me a job.
Yeah,
so
that's right. You actually have 3 jobs. And then, of course, Matt has.
If you count pickleball.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm going pro.
And you have 3 jobs: Captain's Concepts, the San Diego, and Two Fish Jigs.
San Diego
right?
first, Captain's Concepts, and Two Fish Jigs
are in the secondary.
Yep.
But that's what takes most of your time is running the San
definitely.
Diego.
Yes.
Probably at least 5 days a week.
Yeah, normally, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
5 to unlimited.
Yeah. And how many days are you posting on Captain's Concepts?
We usually do it once a week or so. Fishing's been kind of generic for the last little bit, but as much as possible.
I love the idea, obviously not having seen the video yet, but you talked about just making a video on this bluefin. Like, that's the type of thing that, I preach Captain Concept to people all the time. I think it's the best info source out there, but talk about a specific thing where that makes a bigger difference than others, like light line, hard to get a bite, 30 other guys at the rail. Like, it's those little tweaky things you can do. Yeah. And like, That's
has not been
exactly
easy.
what
Yeah.
you're. That's
Yeah.
exactly what you're making a video on.
And we've been seeing this bluefin, and this was like we had just started like really targeting them. I'd been driving by bluefin a lot the last month or so.
Really?
Just because I knew we weren't going to do anything to them.
Yeah,
and the
just not
yellowtail.
biting.
Yeah, and we couldn't fish in the anchor, and stuff just wasn't setting up right.
Where's the yellowfin?
Good question.
I was out there last week on Monday, and they caught yellowfin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yesterday, the Liberty caught some yellowfin.
Oh, did
That's
they?
all,
Okay.
all on dolphins.
On
yeah,
dolphins.
those eat.
Yeah. But that's a tough way to. That's not
It's a
very
tough way to make a
sustainable.
living. Yeah.
Not very sustainable to try
Yeah.
to, unless they're like jugged.
Yeah.
And we checked out a lot of dolphins to catch our 5 on Monday.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I can tell you where there's a whole lot of big yellow.
Yeah.
Like you look at the
Down below.
You flash that camera out to the slab outside of
Uh,
Fisherman's Landing,
yeah.
and any trip that's 6 days or longer, boy, you
Yeah.
can tell right
Yeah.
where all that yellow.
I'd like to go
is.
there, but
Oh boy, yeah, and that's that grade down there.
It's
unbelievable.
crazy.
And speaking of which, I can't believe it, but we still have a few spots left on that 6-day Let's Talk Hookup Shogun trip in October. Which that
Not a 6-day.
Yes.
No, that trip has been extended by a day by Frank. They just made the call.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
Thanks, Frank, for letting me know.
Yeah, so they have extended the trip by 1 day.
Okay.
And they're charging like a fraction, like literally just a fuel cost more. Like there was almost no trip change, but they've extended it to take advantage of that crazy good ridge fish. I just found out yesterday.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah.
So October
rad.
21st now through the 28th.
It's going to be
He pulled it off. I said, Frank, you got to put this, make it a 7-day. He goes, I can't next year. But he did.
So
he did.
it's going to be extended by 1 day to take advantage of that. Not that you couldn't do it.
You
in
could have
6.
done it, but it gives you an extra day of fishing.
You got it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so-
Well, now it gives you time to do other things.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
A
not
6
just
day is
bombing.
plenty of time to go down there
Yeah.
and catch that yellowfin. Now you have plenty of time to go down there, catch that yellowfin, and have multiple days coming backwards of
Fish
doing all the fun
yellowtail.
ridge fishing.
Oh, man.
Potential of wahoo, all
Yeah.
that. Carl just got back from an 8-day, and I mean they had
Even
hard-
Carl caught fish?
Oh my goodness.
smashed them.
Yeah.
Especially on the Two Fish Jigs.
Smashed.
Yeah.
Mostly on the Two Fish Jigs.
Yeah.
He was so excited to send pictures back to Brandon of skip jig fishing yellowfins. He said the first day he had 15 tuna, all on the skip jig. He never put a piece of bait on. It was fast as you could get, and they're like 40 to
beautiful.
75, 80
Oh,
pounds.
man.
Then, as what has been happening on those trips, like the problem becomes catching other fish. Like Carl was saying they were like on the 13, trying to catch yellowtail with yo-yo jigs, and you send your yo-yo jig to the bottom, it hits the bottom, you take 2 turns, and you get a bite on what you're sure is a big yellow, and a 50-pound yellowfin comes up, eating the lure off the bottom.
Wow.
So cool what's going on right now.
Wow.
And that Shogun trip, that is a great group of passengers.
Yeah,
I
it's a
fished it
really good.
multiple
I
years.
fished.
Like,
Me too. Yeah.
So much fun. I can't believe
Ron
it's
Lane's
so-
going to host it for Let's Talk Hookup this year, so he just is Mr. Fun in himself,
So cool.
right? So that's October 21st to the 28th now, a 7-day instead of a 6-day. You better jump on it really quick. Call Lopresti Sport Fishing or just book online at shogunsportfishing.com.
Yeah, Jen was the one that filled me in about the good news, and she was standing
Yeah.
by to take reservation. So yeah, a very,
Okay.
very cool opportunity.
Good stuff.
Yep,
All
no
right.
doubt about it.
Very
Hey, with that said, it's time to find out what's biting out there. It is time for the Catch Sport. And today, our fishdope.com report is sponsored by Norris Lithium Batteries. They're designed specifically for marine use. Norris Lithium features prismatic cells for extreme durability, solid connections, longevity, and reliability. The Norris Guardian Advanced Battery Management System allows you to monitor the health and charging status by using an app on your phone. Norris also makes a complete line of kayak and electric reel batteries that weigh less than 3 pounds. Make an investment in the very best for your boat with Norris Lithium. Check norrislithium.com or go see the Trolling Motor Doctor or Anglers Marine at both their Anaheim and Lakeside locations, or check Norris Lithium Batteries. Hey, with that said, we're going to find out what's going on the water. It's time for the Catch Sport. We got the man, our private boater buddy, Captain Mark Wish is on the line. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, good morning, Rick, Pete, jig guys there. Fun stuff, man. Having a great time listening to you guys there. So we got our mid-September report. Summer's winding down, hard to believe. And, boy, we definitely had some weather on the outside this weekend and up above also. Fortunately, it's much nicer now and opens up the areas. So, some of that stuff's been blown out for a while, but we'll get some good reports from the outside and above there. So along the coast, kind of an interesting sea bass report here from midweek. Couple of good hits from what's reported to be coastal fish in that Paradise Cove zone just below Point Doom there. And if it does check out to be that, bodes well for the fall. I like to see them on the coast like that. Also along the coast, some really good calico bass fishing along the kelp line, both Palos Verdes proper and down along the Orange County south coast there. It's been, the water's clean and warm, and bass are biting. It's been pretty fun. On the outside, Nick did get checked out this week a little bit. Nothing exotic, just lots of cods, lots of bottom grabbers there. Same thing at SBI, minimal pressure, but a little bit of signal on that big grade yellowtail around the backside. Or at Catalina, sound like a broken record here, but still standard mix of bass, bonita, a few barracudas mixed in, and the occasional yellow. A lot of that yellow is good grade, but not quite as much of it as we've been seeing. And but the ones that are being caught from the private boat guys, they're definitely mackerel snappers. They love the mackerels. And there's still some squid around. And as we get a little deeper into the fall season and the water cools down a little bit more, we're going to see more of that big home guard biting on the squid grounds. We'll talk more about that here in a couple of weeks. At Cometi, kind of like Catalina, man, there's still some squid around, a couple different areas, some down there in the cove, some backside west, and that's helping to gather up some sea bass. There's been a couple of decent hits over there on the sea bass, and much like Catalina there, that bodes very well for the fall season. And then as that bluefin, like I said, that weather on the outside was brutal, and much better now. And I'm guessing that the canner is seriously crowded this morning with everybody getting back on that tuna fish. But there's been some really good signal closer to home, too, from just up above Santa Barbara Island, up around the Kidney Bank there, to down just below the Osborne, below the island a little bit. And then in from there towards the west end of Catalina, there's been scattered fish seen, and all the way into the 270 up off of Palos Verdes, there's been some spots of bluefin seen. And noticeable in the absence, of course, is that yellowfin. I wish those guys down south would give us a few of them nice great ones they got down there. And as the marlin fishing, last weekend was the Masters. They clobbered them. They had a hell of a good tournament.
Jeez.
With lots and lots of that light line fish. And the vast majority was centered right off the east end of Catalina. And then the Peskies are fishing as we speak. That is a wild and crazy bunch. That tournament, of all the ones I fished for all the years, without a doubt, more fun there than anywhere. And they had pretty good fishing yesterday. Same area, for the most part, right off the east end of Catalina. So we got nice weather, good fishing, and I think it's time to go fishing, guys.
Boy, you're not lying, man. That's a great report, Mark. Certainly some good opportunities to be had for the guys and some fishing close to home, man. That's great. That's great news.
That marlin fishing's got to be one of the best ever, right?
It's going to be a fun Peskies.
It's been very, very good fishing. Best in this area probably for, 20 years. We actually might go take a little look at that yesterday. That stuff's real easy to get at from where the boat is now. So we may go do that and just see if we can't maybe find one of them lost yellowfin that are up here. So
well, with the
we'll have a report for you.
With the Peskies happening this weekend, there certainly should be some extra tailors around for you too. So some good fishing to be had for sure.
It's gonna be,
yeah, and of course,
it's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah, and of course, fishdope.com. They've had all the information. $30 off a new membership to fishdope.com using the code Hookup Now, lowercase, no space. Hookup Now is your $30 code. And Mark, how do we find you?
Well, Pete, we're in Huntington Beach. We're in the corner of Bolsa Chica and Edinger. Phone number at store 714-840-4262. The website, PacificEdgeTackle.com. And Pete, this morning you had that little technical glitch, and the only place I could find the show was on that YouTube Live.
Yep.
So I was watching you guys in there visiting. That is such a cool setup.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's neat. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah. So, and thanks for bringing that up. We've had basically a disastrous morning on the Let's Talk Hookup app and other things coming in and out. But the feed on Facebook and YouTube Live is 100%.
There you go.
So if you're a little frustrated with what's going on, it's some kind of catastrophic phone failure or something back east or something with the sports grid. Yeah. I don't know. But
Other than that,
anyway, it's up now. We're hoping it stays up. but YouTube and Facebook Live. And then, of course, we'll have after the show the recordings, because you don't want to miss this show. This is incredible.
Really good
On Facebook and YouTube stream, you'll be able to view it on demand, the live podcasts. What do you call them when it's video? Video cast?
Yeah.
I mean, it's their podcast.
Live streaming.
Live stream. Well, it's live streaming, but then when it's
recorded,
what would you call it?
Sure.
Probably a vlog.
A vlog? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So it's a vlog.
Video.
Yeah. So it'll be that's available. It's available now on YouTube and Facebook Live, and then of course the Let's Talk Hookup app will get these problems, if they're not already, straightened out real quickly.
And as we always say too, on the app you'll always be able to hear all the shows,
the recordings. We'll have
exactly.
those.
So if you missed part of it on your way home from work tomorrow, fire it back.
You'll be able to hear it.
Hear all those little juicy bits that Captain Matt Brawley gave you on Fishing the Surface.
Sorry, Bob Fletcher. I've been getting lots of texts from Bob. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. Bob, look at Facebook right now. You'll be able to watch us. All right.
Thanks, Dart.
Thanks, Dart.
Yeah,
hey, appreciate it. Hey, I want to point out before we move on to our next caller or our next report here, really sad news to read in this week's edition of Western Outdoor News. I'm holding it up here on Facebook and YouTube Live about the passing of Sue and Terry Goodrich from Western Outdoor News. Remember
of course, yeah.
Remember them? They were right
Every
across
show.
from the Let's Talk Hookup booth, always at Del Mar, and then of course in Long Beach. But every show,
they were the ones
Terry
that
and
would
Sue,
resubscribe you to Western Outdoor News. I know exactly
and Terry with the big handlebar mustache,
Totally.
he'd be hawking his hot sauce all the time. They passed away within 3 days of each other, which is kind of amazing. In August, so sad news there. Just super neat people, and spent many years telling stories with Terry and Sue at the shows.
Yeah, they were a fixture at all the Fred Hall shows, and you'd resubscribe to Western Outdoor News, and they'd convince you to buy a. Once you subscribe, you got this gift pack thing. I know exactly.
Right.
Yeah, they were super fun.
Really neat people. But check it out in this week's edition of Western Outdoor News, along with the sinking of the jig strike and a whole bunch of other stuff in there for sure. Yeah.
Hey,
continue the catch report.
You got us. Speaking of great things to come, we got the catch report going, and we're going over to C4 Sport Fishing, talking to our buddy Marcos. Marcos, what's going on this morning?
Good morning, guys. I'd ask how you're doing, but it sounds like it's been a little chaotic morning there.
We're having fun. We stole Brawlo away from you guys this morning, so we're talking Two Fish Jigs and having fun doing it.
Good. I mean, he'll probably give you all the rundowns. Oh, and by the way, I'm pretty sure the term is vodcast.
Vodcast. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. So, but one thing that I'm going to start off with here is something that we've actually heard quite a bit this summer. Our half days have just been amazing this season. It's probably one of the best half day seasons we've had in a long time. Those half days and early in the season twilights. They've been seeing yellowtail, bonita, seeing some barracuda. Unfortunately, most of those barracuda are under limits there, but still, they're still fun to catch. Calico bass, sand bass, rockfish, just the whole gamut. Kind of more of that classic half-day fishing that we used to see pretty frequently. And it's kind of nice to see that back. Nice mix of everything on there. And, I'm sure a lot of those people coming down to escape that heat wave we had last week got a nice surprise getting into some of those fish. So very good fishing there. Got a good rundown on the full dam sure from Matt there. Nice mix of yellowtail and bluefin there. Very similar on those 1 days, day and a half and longer. And it's been a good season. It hasn't been as wide open as some of the previous seasons, but again, we're spoiled. We've had some really, really good fishing, and that's continued this season. So definitely check the website. And at this point in the season, everyone back at school and you think it'd be easy to get on a trip. It is not. Definitely check that website for the schedule because like we've talked about before, this is kind of the local summer. A lot of people coming out, a lot of charters. So check the website, seaforthlanding.com. Have those half-day trips up there, the full days. Go out with Matt there if you can get on the boat. The overnights, 1 day, day and a half, is a little tougher to get. But check it out. The full schedule's up there. Make your reservation straight online. Give us a call at the office. We'd be more than happy to help you out, get you out there fishing, 619-224-3383. Can always come down and visit us in person. Check out the tackle shop, get a nice burger next door. Make some reservations and get on the boat because I'm sure we have plenty of good weather and good fishing to come the rest of the summer here.
Man, what a great report, and certainly some good fishing. I love it when it's like that, where all trips are doing so well, from the half days to the full days to the overnights. Sounds like some great fishing, Marcos. Again, if somebody wants to jump on, book one of those trips, how do we do it?
Check the website, seaforthlanding.com. It's pretty self-serve up there. You can see the full schedule. You can make your reservations. If you're out to talk to someone or you have any questions, give us a call, 619-224-3383. we'll go over all your options because there's a lot of them, and we'll get you guys out there fishing.
Awesome. Great job, buddy. Appreciate it. An excellent report, and we'll look forward to another one next week.
I'll talk to you then, guys.
Thanks, Marcos. All right, now let's head down to another place where the yellowtails are always biting, and that's Cedro Sport Fishing. We got Rosie on the line. Good morning, Rosie.
Good morning, guys. I hope you are all doing well this morning. Great
Thanks,
show.
Rosie.
Go wave at my husband. He's over standing in the line at the Independence, getting on the boat.
Oh, is he going fishing? All right, good for him.
He's
How many
going
days
fishing.
do you get rid of him for?
I got rid of him for 7 days.
Oh, nice, Rosie.
Pizza party at Rosie's
great.
house.
Exactly. Come up to the ranch, guys. The ranch is open. There we go. So, oh my gosh, we have been seeing some signs of Dorado on patties, but they're not wanting to cooperate. They're not wanting to come over the rail. We only have gotten 2 this season so far, but they're there. So we just got to figure out how to get them to bite the hook. And also every once in a while we see a yellowfin, but nothing this year. Usually the Dorado and the yellowfin move in at the end of August, but we're really not seeing signs of those guys yet. They're not liking our waters, but we can always count on our yellowtail. And this week, 3 times, and I'll also post up the videos, we've had these bunch of bait balls, or a bunch of bait, and the yellowtail are just pushing the bait to shore and just crashing on shore. And it is absolutely crazy to see yellowtail in, 2, 3, 5 feet of water just crashing. So we've, I'll post some of those videos today, but basically the guys are getting in a little bit closer to shore, throwing their surface iron to the beach and pulling in some yellowtail. And it's been pretty darn good and sizable yellowtail. I mean, 30, 35 pounds, 38-pound yellowtail coming in 10 feet of water or less. So pretty crazy there. Calicos are still doing their gig. We have this last couple of weeks have seen more gold spot bass than we ever have down at Cedros, and upwards of 10 pounds. And I happen to be the weighmaster on the world record gold spot bass from years ago, and it's a 10 pound, 4 ounce gold spot bass.
So is a gold spot the same as a pinto bass?
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes.
It is? No?
Yes. Yeah, they call it a pinto bass down there. Absolutely.
Okay.
We call it they call it gold spot up here, but yes, it is. You're exactly right, Pete.
Okay.
But we've had probably, I would say, 4 bass come up that could have been world records. And to make sure I tell the guys, be mindful. We've now sending them out with hand scales to see if they're close. Just because these guys that are coming over are
crazy,
huge.
That's
so cool. And I have to say, I really love our anglers, our fishermen, because anything big like that has been caught and released. It goes right back in the water. So we really appreciate that.
Cool. That's
so
great.
We're starting to get the schedule up for next year. Everyone has first right of refusal of their trips that they were on this year. And also as charter masters start filling up their trips and opening them up, we're putting those online also. So, so let's get ready for next year. The schedule is up. CedrosSportFishing.com.
Sounds great, Rosie. Appreciate the report, and we'll talk to you next Saturday. Appreciate that.
Thanks,
very
Next
much.
Saturday will be a little bit of a challenge for me because Jeff is coming off of the Independence, and I will be down at the CBX, but I'm going to try to be calling in from the CBX.
Okay, well, do what you can. We appreciate it. All right.
You got it.
Very
Have
good.
a great day, guys.
All right,
Thanks, Rosie.
thanks.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up our Catch Report, sponsored in part by the Fish Pros of Fisherman's Processing in San Diego, where you get the premier processing experience. Check out the easier online system to book your processing for your long-range trips. With new team members, Fisherman's Processing stays far ahead of the rest. More same-day capacity, the finest customer service. You can stop by their location in Old Town on Taylor Street or check fishermansprocessing.com and be sure to make your reservation today.
Apologize to everybody that's on the app or 1090 AM listening in and out. We're back up now. Phone lines are back up now. So 844-843-6879. 844-843-6879. Back up now if you want to give a call, ask some questions. There's our panel of experts. But the good news is Facebook, YouTube Live has been 100% the whole time. So you wanna tune in, you miss it, something goes wrong. I know it's a little hard in a car or something to be listening to Facebook or YouTube Live, but you can do it. Yeah.
Totally.
Just pull over to the side, watch us. Yeah, but that's been 100% throughout the show, and we'll have, of course, the archives on it. If you miss portions of it because you don't want to miss any of this show, it'll be up on our Facebook and YouTube Live feeds after the show too. So,
there you go. Yeah. Hey, well, we had a great text come through. It says, guys, I'm addicted to jigs, so much so that there should be a Jigs Anonymous group. Where can I purchase these lures? Can they be purchased online? I love everything that you guys are speaking. That's from Steven in Mission Viejo.
Sure. Right now we're in Fisherman's Landing and Seaforth Tackle Shops. Those are the two places we sell this year.
Fisherman's Landing and Seaforth is it.
That's it.
I mean, the two best tackle shops in all of San Diego County.
Now, which one's better?
Well, Fisherman's Landing, of course, as everybody knows.
So nice to have an unbiased
an unbiased person.
Every time I say that,
Matt, what do you think? I mean, you're a Seaforth guy.
Yeah.
What
started at Fisherman's too.
I've said the same thing on the radio show a lot of times. There's no question the rental room at Fisherman's Landing spawns the very best full-day Coronado Islands fishermen that exist, period.
Is that true? Rental room.
That's where I came from, and that's where
Really?
Booger came from too.
No kidding.
Boog's first job, and same with Brawley. So something
kidding.
about it.
Wow.
Yeah, so if you're looking to be good at full-day fishing, look for a rental room job.
Yeah, go get the
Look out
rental
for
room
Pete
job.
next, man. You get a sonar in front of Pete, he's going to get on it. There's
Watch
no
out.
doubt about it.
Watch out. Hey, good. So, got a text here from Rich in Bradley. He says his call dropped. He was on hold for 51 minutes. Sorry, Rich. But you can call back now, 844-843-6879. But his question is, how much does the size of the line affect the swimming of the jig?
That is a good question.
Very good question.
It definitely affects it. For the most part, though, if you're fishing anything other than 40-pound with a normal size surface iron, you're probably doing it wrong.
Really?
Yeah. Some guys fish 50-pound. If you're a guy who fishes 50-pound, that Giga is something I'd recommend to you. Just a little bit bigger jig. It moves around more on the.
What is the Giga?
It's the bigger version of the JJ.
The bigger version of the JJ.
Yeah. So it's a JJ 240 upscaled by how many percent?
10%.
10%. So 10% bigger, a little bit bigger lure. It's
Little
not
heavier.
a huge lure, but Giga stands for gigantic.
And the Giga, I recommend to customers in the shop all the time because it is a surface iron for every fisherman. It's slightly heavier, it's slightly larger.
Throw it further.
Everybody can cast it. I don't care if you have a 7.5 foot, 40-pound bait rod. You can cast this lure, and it swims as well as any of the other lures we make. It's got the next size up and hook, and I have fished it on incredibly heavy line, like 80-pound and 100-pound spectra to 80-pound fluorocarbon, and it's still at the end of your cast you can feel the lure thumping on the rod tip. It kicks out very, very wide, and it's
The
kind of
Giga.
the Giga. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the line size is an interesting question too. I'm still learning from these guys because they've been at this longer as a transplant from Minnesota. But one of the things I learned from Matt, and I'd get curious to get him on the record for this, but 40-pound, if you go down from that, does it cast as well? That was one of the things I learned from Matt is, 40-pound, for whatever reason, it sits on the reel, right? It's easier to cast through the guides. It doesn't get backlashes as much, that kind of stuff. You willing to say anything about that on the record?
40-pound is perfect on your Trinidad 20. That is the perfect size line. You go up to 50-pound, and it's just a little too much line. If you're fishing a Trinidad 30, which is wider, that 50-pound fish is much better.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're going to bite 40 or 50.
Yeah, 40 is like the perfect size. Your lure is going to swim good. You're going to have enough pulling power. Your backlash, you're not going to break your line. That 30-pound is good if you're going into those smaller jigs like the LJ or the mini.
Yeah.
I was fishing the mini on 30-pound, and I was swimming pretty good.
Okay, I fished the Tranks 500.
Yeah.
With a short top shot of like 60-pound fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
Is that going to affect? Should I drop to 40 or 50?
I think if you're going the Spectra route, since you have more Spectra in the water, you can get away with that 60 pound. If you're to bump up to like 100 pound or something, then I'd probably go to the Giga or something like that.
Gotcha. And these are minute differences. They're
Yeah.
so small, but I am of the belief that heavier fluorocarbon, is depending on which brand you use, is so stiff, almost at times it acts like wire. So when you're fishing straight spectra to heavy fluorocarbon, sometimes I believe that heavy fluorocarbon allows the jig to do something maybe a little extra.
One thing I do when I'm timed, like I've done the spectra to fluorocarbon thing, especially when we went down to Colombia or Panama and stuff like that, where we're fishing heavy, when you need to fish heavy, but they bite a surface iron really good, is I tie a loop knot. So it acts like his wire. So it's I tie a loop knot to the ring. So there's an extra pivot point on the ring, and gets it. Definitely helps.
One of your like most aggressive swimming lures that you guys make is the Mini, which is a small surface iron. It's 4 or 5 inches.
tiny.
It's a small lure. How do you like to fish that? Do you fish it on scaled down traditional surface iron gear? Do you go the route of the low profile reel? Like what's the appropriate outfit?
I think it depends
and
on
for the Mini?
Depends on the angler. For me, I like surface iron. I'm a mono guy, so I fish it on a Trinidad 16 with a lighter rod. I was fishing.
Why are you a mono guy?
For some reason, I just like the feel. For like yellowtail, I'm a mono guy.
Yeah.
The way their mouths are set up and stuff like that, they rip off the hook a lot when you're.
So you got the stretch,
and you can uncork a cast.
Yeah. Like, and I have to make a lot of weird casts when I'm driving the boat. There's a lot of people in the way. There's rocket launchers, and I'm usually running around trying to fling my lure at some boiling fish in some weird places.
Right.
So the Spectre doesn't allow for any error. So the margin for error with the mono is way bigger. So I can make the cast, and it's easier on the people. Easier. It's just foolproof for the most part.
I'm sure you get attached a lot and then hand the rod to somebody who's not familiar with it at all. And boy, that stretch a mono sure goes a long way if
you
you're
hand them a
familiar.
Spectre rod. It is. You want to see someone look uncomfortable with a fishing pole. That's a pretty good way to do it.
There's a time and place for everything.
Totally.
Many years ago, Matt and I went to Panama, and back then, this is part of the reason why I'm so thankful Bohdan came along and Two Fish Jigs came to fruition. But back then, I brought every one of my prized possessions, which were my surface iron that had been given to me by the greats like Rock Cod Rick Maxa and Matt Brawla and Danny Wade, and I brought them all, and I insisted on fishing monofilament because that's all I ever knew. And at that time, Spectra fishing surface iron on Spectra was very, very new.
Yeah.
I lost every one of my surface iron. Every single one. I went through 2 trays of surface iron, of the best surface iron available in Southern California. Lost them all.
Just
came home
rocked.
with nothing. And stood next to Matt as he fished 100-pound Spectra, 130 to 200-pound fluoro, and landed some.
You still got messed up a little bit
destroyed.
too.
What was it? Kubera?
Kubera, they
everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, but mostly Kubera just made fools
They're
out
so
of us.
badass.
Yeah, they are.
That's
One of the
that's
coolest
the
things that
coolest
swim in the
fish.
ocean.
That's the right word for it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they are. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More great info from the boys from Two Fish. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network. Everyone has their go-to fishing spot. Is Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska.
I like that the
Rock
gear
Cod
guys,
Rick
you're
here to
asking
say
the
if
right
you're
question.
looking
You
for
should
the
have pushed them on
ultimate
it a little
Alaska
bit more.
experience.
I should have talked about the
value in
Mini.
Alaska. It's
all
Kingfisher
good.
Charters. Owner Seth Bone and his crew consistently deliver deluxe accommodations, the finest food,
Really?
world-class fish processing, and top-of-the-line fishing experience. We've literally sent hundreds of our listeners to Kingfisher.
We need
and
to
they
we
all
need to
can't
tell
wait to
people
go
more of
back.
that.
Most
That's the
Alaska
one we're not
resorts make
selling
big
as many of
promises
as
and
what
they
we do.
don't deliver. They'll nickel and dime you
And
to
I think
drive
that
up
you
your
fish
cost, and
cast
not
it.
think
Fish
that
it.
everything is included.
In order to
License,
cast it,
fish
the lighter
processing,
gear.
super
Yeah,
deluxe
it's a ton.
accommodation, amazing food, airport transfers, your gear. Literally, all you need to bring is your layer clothing, and Kingfisher covers the rest. They also have the finest boats and charter captains in Sitka, all for the ultimate value. Take it from me. Book your trip to Kingfisher Charters, and you'll thank me. Kingfisher Charters. 800-727-6136 or check kingfishercharters.com.
Sport fishing, not just for dad anymore, thanks to the Dana Wharf's Kids Club. Dana Wharf Sport Fishing invites all anglers 12 and under to join the Kids Club today. Membership includes over $100 of really cool stuff, like 2 free fishing trips, whale watch trip, as well as a free Dana Wharf Kids Club hat or t-shirt. Log on to the website, danawharf.com, or visit them in Dana Point Harbor, the bass capital of the West, and only minutes from the 5 freeway in Orange County.
This is Pete, and I hear it all the time. That Jim and Mary at Poway Valley Collision are amazing. I took my car to Poway Valley Collision, mentioned Let's Talk Hookup, and they gave us VIP treatment, fixed our car, and even gave us a special price. Believe me when I say Poway Valley Collision is worth the drive from anywhere in the Southland. At some point, your car will need a body repair, and I'm confident in saying it pays to go to Poway Valley Collision. Our listeners can save hundreds of dollars on your next car or truck repair. They work with most insurance companies, including Auto Club, MetLife, Wawanesa, and more. All you do is call Jim, Mary, or any of their team members, and they do all the rest. No hassles, just top-notch work and VIP treatment. When you take your car or truck to Poway Valley Collision, the job and experience will be top-notch. Get it fixed right at Poway Valley Collision, 14211 Garden Road in Poway. Check PowayValleyCollision.com.
When it comes to fishing rods for saltwater, there's just one name you need to know, CalStar. Take, for example, the Graphiter series. It's a true graphite and fiberglass composite rod, the finest it's ever been built. And for anglers seeking traditional performance, durability, and quality at an affordable price, the CalStar West Coast series of rods and blanks are the ones for you. Their master craftsmen bring decades of rod building experience to every rod they make. So if you want your fishing rods to be truly state-of-the-art, I always recommend CalStar at fine tackle stores everywhere.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning. If you want to join, it's been a very busy morning and a new phone line number, at least for today. That's 844-843-6879. Phone's been packed. They've dropped. They're packed again. If you want to get through, that's the way. 844-843-6879. It's not only your opportunity to talk to some of the best surface iron fishermen around, it's also your shot at winning an amazing prize. We talked about it at the beginning of the show, but Bohdan and Brandon and Matt were so gracious. A hand-picked bag of Two Fish Jigs.
Look at that.
Going to one lucky caller or text at the end of the show
That's
today.
a box of jigs there.
And that's a noise that that's a noise.
Yeah.
That's a noise that can't be replicated.
Take those on the San Diego and show Matt, right?
Only one thing that makes that noise. And that's
Brandon's
a bag
kind of
surface
going,
iron.
I could have sold all
I
those.
could have.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what he
He's
said.
going, wait a minute here.
That's a lifetime collection of jigs for a lot of people. Yeah.
Glad you can hear. We got a great show.
Let's go
going.
jump on
Lots
the
of fun.
phones.
You got that, man. How about this time we talked to Bill, and it looks like we just dropped Bill. So how about we talk to Dan from San Diego? Good morning, Dan.
Morning, Rick.
Hey.
Danny Wade here.
Oh, Danny Wade.
Danny Wade.
Hey, what's up,
Danny Wade.
The big guy.
The big iron.
The big guy. How you doing, Matt?
Doing good, Dan.
I had the pleasure of fishing with Mr. Brawl on Tuesday. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he did some work.
Other than the ride home.
Yeah, right home, not so fun.
You catch a couple, Danny?
I shot a couple at a time here and there. It was good. It was good fishing.
That's cool.
If you put your time in, make a right cast.
That's it.
I hope you heard us praising you earlier. You are the legend of surface iron fishing, and we all have so much respect for you.
Well, thank you. I've tried to pass it on. Hopefully it absorbs.
You did good.
Yeah, for sure.
Some of us are slow learners, but we really appreciate the patience, Danny. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I still learn. You know, I pick up things from whenever, whatever, whoever. You know, it's always a process.
We were even talking about things during the break, Danny, about, guys and their speed that they turn the handle and, and how fast jig reels are. And during the break, Brala was mentioning that exactly. Well, Danny's different. Danny fishes with a reel that doesn't have the same gear ratio as everybody else. And, there's lots of little things to it. And I think Brandon said something that was so important too. Like the details that these guys are talking about oftentimes are minutia. And, a good swimming lure in front of a fish is going to get a bite 90% of the time. It's just fun having these three guys in here, and you certainly much these guys are really good at that extra 10%. Like 90% of it is hopping on the San Diego and have Brala park you in front of a hungry one, and you're going to get a bite. But there's another 10% that exists, and that's what these guys are sure experts at.
Yep, for sure. Well, it's nice to hear.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but, you've got that. You're always going to have the guy that has that, catches that one fish when nobody else does.
That's it.
It's normally you, Danny. Yeah, you're that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I came up in this years ago, man, the Jig Master was the deal. There was no other reel. And all these, even your JJs and all the Taddy Sal, everything that's ever been made was based on a jig master when you really come down to it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think people find a little too fast at times. I'm sure, Matt, you've seen it. How many times you see a guy, the fish gets on his jig and his heart pumping, and all of a sudden he's turning that jig to faster, and faster.
Yeah.
And then the thing swims away.
Yeah, they pull it away from him.
Yeah, yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
Speed is important, right?
You know.
That's it. Well, hey, Danny, nice to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Yeah, the jig master himself with, of course, the DW line, right?
Yeah, Danny's involved in several jigs.
Yeah.
Another line of jigs on top of that. And
yeah,
Danny's a guy that doesn't worry a whole lot about anything other than a good swimming lure. And I know he fishes the Two Fish Jigs. I know that he's involved in his own and another line of lures that he's helping produce. And obviously the DWs from JRI. And Danny's a jig fishing guy and likes good swimming lures, and he likes casting them at yellowtail. And he doesn't involve in a whole lot of BS. And Danny would tell you the same thing. He'll cast a good swimming 45 or a good swimming JJ or a good swimming Legend 1, 2, 3 and catch a fish on all three of them.
Yeah, that's what's pretty cool, watching him come on, rig up his rods, and there's his lure and a JJ tied on.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. You have a good text, huh?
I definitely do. And this one, let me pull it back up here. This one was, good morning, guys. Sounds like a great show. I don't fish a ton of iron. I got a little turned off the last few years because of the lack of consistency. Every time I would buy a lure off the rack, it would never swim the way I'd hoped. It really sounds like Two Fish Jigs has fixed this problem. My question comes with fluorocarbon leaders. We talked a little bit about it. How do you think it affects jigs? Is it necessary at all? Does it give you any advantage or disadvantage? That's from Bobby in Huntington Beach.
Certainly, if you're fishing monofilament, if you're fishing the standard, 9 or 10 foot rod with 40-pound monofilament, you should not be putting a fluorocarbon leader on there. But if you are fishing straight spectra, you should absolutely be fishing fluorocarbon. You don't have to fish fluorocarbon. You could fish heavy monofilament, but fluorocarbon is a little stiffer. It's a little bit more abrasion resistance. And I believe due to that stiffness, it allows for the jig to maybe have a little bit more freedom of movement. But for sure, if you're fishing monofilament, like 90+% of guys don't ever put a piece of fluorocarbon on there.
No fluorocarbon if you're fishing mono.
Not like in the bait style setup where you've got your reel full of mono and then 3 feet of fluor. It's not doing you anything.
If you're fishing straight mono, tied to the jig.
Now, what about spectra tied to the ring? We see some, I see calico bass guys sometimes doing that. Is there an advantage, a disadvantage? Why do you like the piece of fluorocarbon? I'm the same way. Like I tie a piece of fluorocarbon because I just goes back to the roots of fishing. Like I can't, it's got to have something in front of it.
Yeah, it's certainly abrasion resistance and straight braid when wet and tight. If you become attached to something, can go boom. If you get pinched in a piece of kelp or you get chewed on, a calico bass for as small of teeth as they have, they can chew through that spectra pretty darn quick.
Yeah, if it's tight and something sharp hits it, it's bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why you need that little piece of fluorocarbon.
And how long of a piece are you guys talking about?
3 to 6 foot. No more than a rod's length.
Yeah,
because you want it outside the guides.
Yeah,
right?
ideally, yeah. In a perfect world, you'd have it outside of the guides. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Huey from Torrance says, where can I find the jigs in Torrance, first of all, and then also, what is the perfect setup for a good surface iron rod and reel?
Well,
what do you recommend?
I've got great news for him. He's going to get to make a trip down to beautiful San Diego and purchase a Two Fish jig from the finest retailer in all of the land, which is Fisherman's Landing Tackle. Whoa. You're talking about that's a silver medal award-winning establishment. They're fantastic.
It's close to Torrance, though.
Fisherman. So what you're saying is I'm going to interpret Brandon's.
Yeah.
What he's saying is that Fisherman's Landing and C4 Sport Fishing are the only places you can get Two Fish jigs right now.
Right now.
Do you have plans to put them? Because we have a lot of listeners in LA and Orange County that say, wait a minute.
Let me tell you, boys, there's a lot of texts that are coming from outside of San Diego that all say the same thing. How do I get my hands on these?
We were in Save on Tackle last year. We limited it this year to keep it down here. I won't say this bad about Fisherman's, but if you called Seaforth, they would mail them up to you. If you talk to the right, person in the shop, you do have to pay for mailing, but people would do that. As we grow and as we continue to look to get jigs out, but that's good. They want them.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of excited that people are hungry.
And in all
for 'em.
fairness, Fisherman's Landing does the same, and they've probably
You'll mail them too.
We've mailed more than Seaforth by a lot.
Okay. So they can
call the shop and
so-
they can get
yeah.
them up there. And that's the thing we really want is people to, know they can get them even
can
if
get
they're
'em.
up in LA.
Yeah.
There's no question. The time is going to come when they will be.
They
in
will
those
be in
shops.
other- but you can
We're
only produce so many.
We're
is the
beating
idea.
down poor Brandon and Bohdan's store every day. Like Brandon, dude, you got to figure this out, man. We need more 270s. We're sold out again. You know what I mean? They're just so popular.
I need to mention, in early November we're having a big event at Fisherman's Landing called Tackle Day.
Right.
And that's a wonderful
November
time.
2nd.
November the 2nd.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful time
you're
to
gonna
take
hear
a
a lot
drive
about
down
that
from
over the next
Torrance
month.
and purchase yourself at a discounted rate a two fish
Wait a
jig.
minute, you're going to discount? at
Fisherman's Landing is going to discount some two fish jigs. The
at
ungettable lure
at Tackle Days.
At Tackle Days.
All right. So, the main question that our friend from Torrance, Huey, had was the perfect rod and reel setup for a surface iron. What do you recommend?
That is the most loaded question.
Yeah, it's a loaded question
to these three guys.
And we all disagree on it.
Yeah.
Ask Matt.
So what's your favorite?
Well,
Dan.
see, this is hard. I asked this question years ago to the captains on the full day boats, and they said, "Well, is it the one you want to cast the jig with? Is it the one you want to catch the fish with? How is it?" So fighting the fish is different than getting the best cast. I like a 10-foot rod.
Okay.
I like a 10-foot rod. I do fish a Tranks, 500.
Tranks 500.
I like a Trinidad 20. I think it makes the jig swim better consistently, is what Matt has taught me. I should have let him tell you this, but
right.
Maybe he'll say that.
Matt, what do you say?
Yeah, I agree. You can feel the jig better with it
On a Trinidad
because
20.
You're guiding the line back and forth.
And what rod?
If you're just starting off, the CalStar 90J is it.
That's a 9-foot rod.
If you're looking for one jig rod, CalStar 90J.
CalStar 90J. And Brandon?
90J.
I can't argue with that. If 100 guys came into the tackle shop, certainly the same rod is not right for everybody, but 98 of them should buy a CalStar 90J.
A CalStar 90J.
Yeah.
And a Trinidad 20.
And a Trinidad 20, the best.
And what are you putting on the Trinidad 20, Matt?
40-pound mono.
40-pound mono.
Yeah, I mean Spectra Bracket, we're like halfway with 65 or 80-pound Spectra, and then the rest of it 40-pound mono.
I do have to say though, I fish with Brandon surface iron more than I fish with any other person I know. I fish on my boat all the time with him. Fish on sport boats all the time with him. I've never one time seen him fish a 90J. Not one time ever.
I don't own a 90J. Yeah, but what the jig rod that's right for me is not the right rod for Bohdan.
Right,
Bohdan has the world's weirdest jig rods, and Matt Brawla has every jig rod in every configuration. So,
but you're saying like the intro ideal setup is Trinidad, Shimano Trinidad 20A, 40-pound monofilament, and a CalStar 90J.
I tell customers in the shop all the time, if they buy themselves a 90J and a Trinidad, regardless of how into surface iron fishing they get, always they will own that 90J. They will always go back to it. They will never get rid of it. It's your standard, great surface iron rod.
But I'll go back and agree with what Bohdan said. If you're looking for the intro outfit, I think the Tranks is the better reel to get. I think a Tranks 500 and a 90J. If you're wanting to get into surface iron fishing and have an advanced rig, it is such a user-friendly reel to cast. I agree.
And what do you put on it?
40-pound mono.
Mono.
Yep. Yeah. From the bottom to the top.
Straight mono.
And again, I mean, a Tranks is a better, if you want to fish straight Power Pro and a little fluorocarbon leader, there's no argument there. That is a Tranks. That's when you buy that for sure. But if you're just getting into this and you haven't been about it before and you're wanting a rig that's very user-friendly, a Trinidad is an advanced casting reel. Like you will get a hang of it, no problem, but it's
we should clarify that it's the Tranks 500 HG one, not the PG, the HG.
Totally.
Yeah, because of the speed.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's try and sneak in another call, Rick.
Got it. How about this time we talk to Dan? He's calling us from Rancho Cucamonga. Good morning, Dan. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys. It looked like you guys already answered my question, but I have another one or kind of suggestion. Once these jigs, I know they're popular, but once everybody have them, have you guys ever thought about having a competition between jig manufacturers? Like take the best guys that know how to cast jigs out there and see what jigs perform better.
I love this question. I once was on the boat with Danny Wade, and I said, Danny, I would like to, have a face-off, me versus you. Danny looked at me and he said, I'll eat you alive. But I think it's a great idea. I think there should be, there's bowling leagues, there's all kinds of competitions.
Sure.
And that idea of I know that deckhands sometimes have this over a season.
Yeah.
I know Matt's done that to keep things interesting on the boat.
We need the Jig Chuckers Ball 2.0.
We did that with our pinheads, where they went fishing. It was crew members versus pinheads.
Oh, that's fun.
Wow.
And they picked we tallied it at the end of the year. They won because they went fishing way more than us, but it was good.
I think this arena for this competition already exists. You just need to purchase a ticket to go on the San Diego or aboard the Liberty and go to the islands, and you'll see.
Yeah, you will see every captain. And every crew member.
35, 40 people. They're all. A lot of them are fishing surface iron, and they come in all different shapes and sizes, and one lure remains supreme. And that's a Two Fish Jig.
Well, yeah. Look.
He's like a commercial walking around, right?
Well, if you look at
Nobody
if you
better.
look at everyone's rods, when I walk around, I go on I'm good friends with the guys on Liberty and all the other boats.
Sure.
I just got a picture from Tyler on the Grande the other day. It was 3 jig rods, all JJ's tied on.
Hey,
nice.
And then
JJ is your lure.
Yes, is our lure.
Yeah.
And then An Evil sends me pictures all the time where they have that's what everyone has tied on.
Yeah,
That's what's working.
If I see something else tied on somebody's rod, I just feel sad for them.
I had a great.
You guys are bad.
I had a great text that is not going to bum any of these guys out.
No.
It was from Andrew. It says, yesterday I went on the half-day boat and I bought a JJ 300, all white with a red nose. I was mind-blown at how perfect the lure swam. I caught bass and barracuda all day long. It was so much fun watching it get blown up on. I can't wait to go buy some more.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
See, there you go. Music to Brandon's ears. And all these guys' ears. Yeah. It's all good for sure.
All right. Hey, when we come back, we got more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way, including finding out who's gotten themselves a custom bag of hand-picked Two Fish Jigs. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. Hi, this is Doug Kern. Our hardworking crew will make sure your fishing experience is one to remember. We offer the 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet is second to none. Fisherman's Landing is a full-service operation offering great half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day open party trips on the spacious and comfortable Liberty. Since we introduced the full-day trips at Fisherman's Landing, the 85-foot Liberty has become a favorite among full-day operations with bunks for your comfort, huge bait capacity, and RSW fish holds to keep your catch fresh. Plus, Liberty has a big modern galley and 2 interior heads with showers. All our open party trips from half day, full, or 1 to 3 day trips can easily be booked online at fishermanslanding.com or give us a call at 619-221-8500. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
All of us at the American Angler family want to express appreciation to our regular passengers that fish with us year after year, and to the new anglers that came out this last season. We realize how precious your vacation time is, and we are truly grateful that you have chosen to spend this time with us. It's important that your experience is memorable, from the moment you call the office to the time you step off the boat. Hi, I'm Lori. Call me at the office, 619-223-5414, or check us out at AmericanAnglerSportFishing.com. Come fishing with the American Angler family and make a memory.
Lobster season is here. It's time to gear up with the best in the business. Promar, based in SoCal. Promar knows lobster and makes everything you need to catch these tasty critters. The Promar guys are hardcore lobster fishermen and have designed the most successful hoop nets and accessories on the market, including the Ambush Series hoop net line, the original hoop net designed for SoCal lobster hooping. Visit Promar on Facebook or on the web at promarahi.com.
The Make It Ford Summer Sales Event is on. Visit your San Diego County Ford dealers now and make it your best summer yet. Amazing offers and great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series, featuring gas, hybrid, or all-electric. These are deals you've been waiting for. So don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Only at your San Diego County Ford dealers. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Okay, it's time to find out what lucky caller or texter is going to win that custom bag of Two Fish Jigs. Bohdan's going to do us the honor of flipping the prize coin here. Okay, we have a caller today. Congratulations, Cheer in Cardiff. You have got yourself a hand-picked bag.
Woo!
Two Fish Jigs.
Cheer, you're going to be stoked.
No doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Well, of course, Matt, thank you very much for taking the time off the San Diego. Normally you'd be on the San Diego, but Ryan's running the boat today, right?
Yeah,
but
Ryan
thanks for coming in, and of course, Two Fish Jigs, and Captain's Concepts, right?
Yep.
See you on Captain's Contest, and of course, most of the time on the San Diego.
Yeah. You'll see me on the San Diego more often than not, but we're posting on Captain's Concepts and Two Fish Jigs. So
Yeah.
Two Fish Jigs on Instagram, just at Two Fish Jigs. You'll find all the stuff.
Brandon, we know where to find you, right?
Yes, Fisherman's Landing tackle, and come down for tackle day.
There you go. And Bohdan, thank you very much for a great time, and we'll do it again for sure.
Oh, we got him. He said that. I'm coming back.
Oh yeah,
I might never leave, Pete.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks to Chris. Thanks to all of you out there. And thanks to Adam for all he does on Let's Talk Hookup app. Tomorrow morning, Captain Dave Ibrahim from the Tomahawk will be here tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening today. We're going to be back 7 and 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Great show and another great prize I can promise you too tomorrow. And of course, on the Let's Talk Hookup app, and of course, Sports Grid and Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and of course, always archives on our app. So thanks to Chris manning the boards and the phones, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 and 9 a.m.
Uncle Al, I'm coming to see you.
Uh-oh. Hey, Uncle Al. New haircut. Take care. Say goodbye.
I don't know if you caught it. He came on with a 90-second to go, not a 60 second.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
And you finished at a perfect 60 seconds.